Okay, so you are given the opportunity to essentially GM for a living. You don't have to choose one system. It can be multiple different systems, but you're GMing all of the games that you are doing. How much money do you have to make as a full-time GM to quit your current job?
How often do I have to run games?
As often as you want. It just depends on how much you want to make.
My number's gonna be really high.
Really? Mine's gonna be surprisingly low?
Like you could maybe do fewer sessions that you're presumably charging more for. I'm not sure how you do it charging for.
They're expensive.
GMing,
if you ever looked them up, they normally go along with like the idea of like pay for an experience, you know, like the bunch of rich people who've never roleplayed before and don't have friends to DM for them, and so they'll just like, let's do it on a weekend. That sounds funny. They each pay like $150 or more for a ticket. It's insane, actually.
Yeah. So you could have like fewer sessions that are really expensive, or you could have a lot of sessions that are a little bit cheaper, or you could have only have sessions scheduled on certain days. That's all up to you. I'm just curious how much you'd have to make.
So here's the thing that's different. Designing a game for people you like and friends is very different than designing games for strangers and running those games for strangers. So I'm thinking that my number is higher than you would normally think, even though it's my #1 hobby and I would love to run a game. I'm going to stick with a pretty low number by some of you, probably $60K a year, and I would quit my current job and just run DM. Just DM. Yeah.
It's a pretty low number, Josh.
Yeah.
That's a
lot to just
it's pretty low.
More than I make now.
Wow.
I think that, yeah, that'd be good.
I wouldn't even be sacrificing to do it at that point.
But you do have to remember that professional GMing likely doesn't come with benefits or retirement or insurance.
Well, coupled with, because you would be self-employed, coupled with, I need a job that I can, like, that makes enough that I could support not just myself in a theoretical future. So it's got to be a little.
Josh, you don't have to worry about it. If you're a professional GM, you'll be single for the rest of your life.
That's possibly true.
There's like some professional GM that we have that listens to our podcast that's married that's no longer going to listen after that comment, Sarah.
Probably. I've scared them off.
I'm mad now.
Hey, if you are a professional GM and happily married with a family, like, let us know, because that's unusual.
That's good for you. What would your number be, Jace? How much would somebody have to pay you to stop your current job working on printers?
So I don't think it would be as high as $60K a year. I'd probably go closer to like in the 30 to 40 range.
I would do 30 or 40 now, but I'm assuming if I'm making a career out of it, I would want the number to be a bit higher.
Yeah. But like in my theoretical future, I don't have any kids or a family. So I don't have to worry about saving for any of that stuff.
You still have family.
No family. Nope, you're dead. He's already killed you.
Not exactly what I meant, but
future, I have no family.
You might find when you try to come back tomorrow that the door is locked and all your stuff's thrown out in the driveway.
I simply meant that I would not be married and have kids.
That's not what you said, though.
Yeah, I heard
what you said. No family.
No family.
So I wouldn't have to worry about making extra beyond that. So I don't think I'd have to go as high as 60.
What about you, Justin?
Justin said he'd be high, so I'm thinking like 100.
Probably, yeah, at least six figures. Six figure job.
Yeah, probably. Because, like, I mean, I'd take a pay cut, but, like, I wouldn't want to take that much of a pay cut. So it'd still be pretty high up there. Like, it would still have to, like I understand, like, it sounds easier to do that, but, like, I'm assuming you don't have a choice of the people that you're DMing for. Like, you don't have any choice in that matter. So you're still having to deal with a lot of people that you don't know all the time. So it's functionally the same as my current job. So I'd want it to be in the six-figure neighborhood for sure.
I mean, you'd probably have some control over it. Like, if you wouldn't know who these people are the first time, but after a couple sessions, if there were some that you just were like bad, I mean, you'd have full reign over saying, "Hey, don't come to my games anymore."
Yeah, it depends on how
just starting
regularly
different
you're doing
groups.
stuff,
Are you
though, too.
reputation based? I'm sorry, we're going into the weeds here. Like,
I'll just say,
hypothetical. Like, if you're reputation based and you need to have a good reputation in order to get more clientele,
that goes both ways, though, is because you might have a reputation of you only run for people who are worth playing with.
Ooh,
so you're a high class.
High class.
You are high class.
It sounds like that's what you're going for. You're going for the upper market area.
You're like an elitist club.
Yeah.
He's like, I only GM for celebrities.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't know if celebrities would be good.
If you're not Jake Gyllenhaal, get out of my DM.
There's this 8-page application and interview process for you even to get like approved,
right?
And then thereafter, like all of your character sheets have to be fully vetted. All of your like everything is involved process. Like going to a LARP convention, where like, hey, your costume has to be, setting accurate, so they're checking what paints you used.
Yeah, Justin, I expect your games to be phenomenal.
Oh,
no.
Like the best.
I mean, I think I'd have to take lower then, because you're going to be sorely disappointed.
We have yet to find out, so you GM for us, and then
as soon as you're ready
you
to call out, we are good to go. Okay? As soon as you're ready.
Co-DM it.
Co-DM it with Brandon. It'll be fine.
That sounds fun.
Fallout.
Yeah.
What about Sarah and Brandon? Is there a price, or would you just wouldn't do it?
Oh, I have a lot of anxiety with GMing, and I don't know if that would be worth money. Like, I enjoy doing it for like my friends, but to try to do it for strangers, I just don't know if it would be worth what it would do to my mental health.
Well, the dynamics completely change too, though. Everything becomes performative. You are immediately, like, more so than normal. Not just you have to guarantee that they have fun, you have to sacrifice all parts of the game that are fun to you so they have a good time. You might compromise on the rules more often than you're inclined to do. You might notice that this is a beer and pretzels table and so run that style of game, even if you would prefer to run a more serious RP game. You've got to respond to the table that you're given, and that in some ways takes the fun out of a good a good group,
Yeah. And as my Rise of the Rune Lords players will attest, there's a lot of things that I don't like as a GM. And I don't think anybody would put up with that and pay me to do it.
Yeah. Like, I would not pay somebody to tell me, no, you cast grease again.
I hate grease.
Like, I want somebody I'm paying to be like, yeah, you cast grease the 70th time, and the monster trips and falls, and he's stuck forever.
I was telling Jason today that I hate crit builds. My list of like hates is a lot longer than my list of likes.
No.
Yeah. So I probably wouldn't subject somebody to that. I doubt that many people would pay to have me GM anyway.
Too funny.
How about you, Brandon?
Last one, and then we can start playing.
You've GM'd some one-shots that I've been in, but other than that, not a whole lot.
No, I mean, I did D&D back in the day with some of my friends, but that was more, the beer and pretzels, as Josh put it, kind of thing where you're just having fun and just let it fly by, and the rules don't need to make sense as long as you're having a blast. But I don't know if I can make it as a career, but maybe as a little side hustle job or something, just a little extra. A little extra 6 figures on the side, no biggie.
Yeah, no biggie. Yeah. No biggie.
On the side.
On the
pocket
side.
money. Yeah. Pocket money. It's fine. Walking around money.
Yeah.
Just, in case I wanted to, do something cool someday, I would just have it, 6 figures.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally GM professionally for 6 figures.
I would definitely do that.
Anyways, last session was a interesting one. A lot happened. Josh, since you were the most impacted by the session, why don't you, from your perspective, tell us what happened last session?
Oh,
That's cold.
Just like from the beginning. See, because my memory is pretty clouded towards the very end of the session. That tends to be what I focus most of my weekly attention on so far.
I killed a dragon.
Yeah.
You did.
Mm-hmm. So
all by myself.
Soloed it, basically.
Soloed it. Whopping 3 damage.
Tell the story, okay? I'm gonna tell the story.
It reminds me of a certain wizard that took credit for killing somebody with a magic missile.
Doesn't remind you of anything. Listen to this. All right, so we start.
Just trying to get the girl. Didn't work, but, you know.
First, we relocate the surviving rangers that we found underneath the tower keep. Bring them over to here with the Aubryn and the rest. We talk with Cobb. We strategize a plan. We say, hey, get out of here. Go someplace safe. We're going to take care of the dragon. Sirio agrees to team up with us, not finding it within himself to avoid a good fight. Perhaps resigned to death or what have you. We continue into the tower. On the second floor, yes, we run into a chimera and the Barghast is what it's called.
It was a Manticore, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was totally a Manticore.
No, one person called it a Manticore, but it was in fact always a 3-headed chimera. The head of a dragon, a lion, and a goat. Ram?
Yes.
Ram. Yeah. And anyhow, so we quickly dispatched both of them and the Barghast from earlier, which had disappeared into thin air last time we had fought it. Defeating them. We slowly walk past, and we find where Jang and the cougar, the cougar and her pet tiger were. We go in, and we find the battle plans of the Iron Fang Legion, and we learn that they have expanded rapidly in a month's time, controlling allegedly controlling half of Nirmathis, nearly all the way down to the southern borders of Kragadan, encroaching on the city there, all the way past the northern side of Long Shadow. Huge expanse across the plains under supposed Legion control. With conviction in their hearts, the heroes continued. As soon as they put their foot on the step to the final floor, the dragon roared out in a hilarious voice, depending if the voice mod was on or not, or an incredibly intimidating voice, depending.
I loved that. I went to listen because I couldn't hear it when I was doing it. So I was like, oh, I'll listen to the recording to see what it sounded like. And it was just me again. And I was like, hold up. That's not right. They were reacting like it was working correctly.
So you don't know, we realized that on the one version of the podcast, the audio did not get the voice mod in correctly. So we had to fix that. But when we finally got up there, we found the dragon. Aiden steps first into the room after saying he's going to reap the dragon's soul. A sling of arrows go out. It's a mirage. Quickly, he steps further into the room, notices where the true dragon lies, and 3 other arrows find purchase. The rest of the crew comes up. Aiden takes one more 5-foot step, despite being surrounded by little dragon things. Takes full round action, deals 93 hit points of damage in a single round. Enough to significantly hurt the dragon, but enough also to raise its attention. Very next turn, the dragon issues a command. All of his minions and he himself come. Kill Aiden. And he falls. Thereafter, the party has recently recovered from the rebel. Frampton is in fact able to deal the final blow. We find our adventurers now coming to the center of the courtyard, carrying Aiden's body in tow.
Oh, we dumped it off the side of the tower, actually.
Yep.
Kidding.
They went into the privy in the tower and just down one of those holes.
For those listening, Frampton wrote, "At least Frampton will continue to do damage with the party."
Yes, without a DPS, the whole party is ruined. The whole party dynamics. What will you do without him? But yeah, so then after dumping Aiden's body off the side of the tower, having it plunge 50, then another 20 feet into the ravine below where it splits. And a
gets
fed,
the horse thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Concluding that, the adventurers say, "Thank God that guy's gone. What an annoying voice. Now we can have a real character in the party." And they say, "You know what? Be gone with him, and let's go." You know what? We don't even need to tell the people at Mist Home. Let's just go to Long Shadow. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So we actually pick up on the adventuring party's way to Long Shadow.
We set this place on fire and just walked away.
Burned it to the ground. We have also decided we no longer care about the people of Phaendar. We hate them now.
Yeah. Near Mythos? Nah.
And seeing that the party is now evil, Josh's backup character will be Jang.
That's right. Little did you know.
No, just the cougar.
I was the
Cougar.
cougar.
Very good.
The cougar. Okay.
So,
Quite the recap.
Yeah, right?
yes, we do start up in the center of the courtyard of Fort Trevally. You have Aiden's body there, and what exactly is your plan here? Are you going to do a funeral right now in Fort Trevally, or are you going to start making your way back to Mist Home and bring him alongside and bury him there? What's going on? Are you guys having a conversation, or is it silent?
I would assume silent, but just me asking, because wouldn't the body start decaying or not smelling good? I mean, for how long it would have us to travel to Mist Home and literally carry a body with us?
Yeah.
It would take you probably 5 days to get there.
Ooh.
But, like, honestly, they left not that long ago. If we were to hurry, would we be able to catch up to this group that's traveling through the Fingwood?
You could totally catch up to them, yeah.
We're just running to a forest with a dead body.
They left like an hour or two ago at most, so they're not too far away. You could definitely catch up to them by the end of today, at least, if you were to.
Actually, it looks like
hustle.
Auburn's still in the barracks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't leave yet.
Yeah, they didn't get out. Yeah, they're still there.
Well, I guess, my thoughts as a player is that we would probably, figure out to do something with the funeral, but then want to check up to see, what's in the Dragon Tower, I guess. See if I dropped any belongings up there that...
So we're going to go do the funeral first and then come back?
See, I'm thinking that because Aiden was close with Auburn, I feel like she should be present at the funeral. So I was thinking if there was any way to hurry and find them, and, now that the fort is safe, maybe bring them back here. And then later we can go to Mist Home and start bringing the rest of the people with us instead of, they go all the way back there just to turn around. Because I'm thinking the fort is probably our best bet to, build a settlement because it's highly defensible.
So we're bringing the people from Mist Home to...
I think so. I mean, it's more defensible than the caves are.
Are we just going to put a big sign here that says, "Do not enter"? For the love of God, do not enter.
Do not look in the water either.
Also, do not look in the water at the creepy...
Yeah, we might have to take care of that. But, if you think about it, there's, 12, 14 rangers that, once they get back to full health, they're still rangers, so they would provide a defense, and it's more comfortable than the caves would be, I think.
I mean, I guess my thoughts are, if, let's say, we had slayed the dragon and Aiden didn't die, would we still have rushed out to get them and have them come back? If so, what was really, I guess, the point of us sending them back to Mist Home anyway?
Because we thought we were going to die.
Fear of failure.
Well, right. I mean, I guess why wouldn't we have just said, "Hey, why don't you just go chill out in the woods, but just wait And if you don't hear from us in a few hours, then head to Mist Home versus...
Because the dragon could have gone after them, so it was kind of like, you gotta hurry and see
if we can catch up to them, the dragon would have.
That's fair.
Right, I understand that, but like, I still don't see why, now that we won, we wouldn't just bring them back here. Like, why subject them to the dangers of the forest if, you know, we decide on just bringing everybody back here anyway? It's going to be harder with the extra, like, 15, 16 people than if they were just here. But if you guys, like, that's what Kieran would say. But if you guys don't want to do it, he's not going to go off and do it himself, so...
Listen, there are no shrieking mushrooms here. This fort is trash. Okay?
I'm sure there's something growing in this greenhouse that we can use.
I think we burned it, though.
If there's no shrieking mushroom to alert us to danger, this fort is trash. Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of agree with Kieran's line of thinking that we like should run and get them. I don't see a problem with moving everybody here. I guess it does kind of make sense, but at the same token, like clearly the Legion knows that this is well, but they know the cave is there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also know that pretty much
fair.
the only reason that Fort Trevally fell is because they had a dragon. From a ground assault, Fort Trevally is actually very defensible because they can collapse these bridges, and they're pretty, and they have walls and everything. It's just that the dragon showed up and just wreaked havoc.
But his lady dragon might show up.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I doubt that would happen, but yeah, what's to say that she wouldn't? And supposedly she's a bigger dragon.
She didn't seem all that impressed with him, so she didn't like dragons. If I know anything about dragons, they're not like
She was
out
just
for
using
revenge. Usually they're very like
Friend-zoned in 'em.
solitary. Yeah,
If I know
usually
anything about the mating rituals of dragons,
Listen, I've got a journal of information that, you know, don't ask certain questions because it might be in the journal.
What have you been writing?
There may be diagrams.
Don't ask questions you don't know the answer
Diagrams.
to. Don't ask questions you don't know the answer to.
Ask stupid questions, get stupid answers. Nope,
Yep.
gonna mind my business. What we doing with this dead body?
Yeah, I just think it's hard because like the cave's already had an attack by owl bears, and if anything worse mobilizes, I don't know. I feel like the fort is a better place to be, but
Well,
Yeah,
if we're
no.
gonna bring them back here,
Probably one of us should go
try to
run and
clean
grab
out
them.
with the wraith too, or just say don't go in there.
I lean towards the big sign that says "Don't go in there."
right.
Like, I know that's a risk, but hear me out. I got
Just for any potential enemies that come in, just write loot horde. Don't enter. Just wait for some enemies just to like stroll on in.
Yeah,
Rig it
I
up
mean,
so the door shuts behind them.
I think we'll have to take care of that eventually, but for now, it seemed tethered to that room, so it doesn't pose a threat unless people go in there.
I guess, you know, I would talk in character, but out of character. If you guys feel the need to go and get the rangers and stuff and come back, Jessup probably wouldn't want to leave Aiden's body right now. If you guys wanted to run out, grab him, and come back.
Yeah. So, Jason,
Serio,
you do that?
what do you think, Serio? What's your thoughts on this? Being a ranger at all? Do you feel we should hold up here, or you've been to Mist Home? Do you feel like we should go back to Mist Home?
Honestly, I'd say that if you're going to be making a more permanent place to stay, the fort's probably a far better place. I mean, Mist Home is nice and all, but, you know, it's getting a bit crowded, and you've already got another 14 people heading there. I don't know how much more you're going to be able to accommodate if you have too many there at once. Getting close to 60 people in that cave you're getting a bit crowded. There's a lot more room here. There's walls. There's a lot better access to food and water. And plus this is an area that the rangers are more familiar with. Multiple escape routes as well. They can't just bar the cave tunnel and starve us out. We've got multiple different ways that we could be leaving this place if we were to be assaulted.
Do you feel like we should take care of that thing down in that room? That specter? Do you feel like we should clear that out before we bring him back?
Clear it out at some point, but at this point in time, it doesn't look like it's too big a deal. I think the Rangers are smart enough to not go into a room that has a ghost in there if you tell them that's what's in there.
Well, that's my play at least. There's already a bunch of pigs and cows here for food if we need it. There's some food in the garden. I don't really see why we should go all the way back to Misthome when this might be a better place to make a more permanent settlement. I'd feel better leaving the people here than at the caves if we do head north.
Syrio nods. He says, "Well, if that's the plan, who's gonna go sending off the message?" He kind of taps his wooden peg leg and he says, "I'm a great runner. I'd get there in no time."
I've got a trick up my sleeve. I might be able to get there a little bit faster. I'd be willing to go. Not 100% sure. Not quite as good at tracking as Aiden was, but I can do my best.
I imagine this conversation's happening a little bit off to the side. Because Syrio would maintain his dark humor, but he would be sensitive of the fact that he probably shouldn't do it next to Jessup right now. But yeah, Syrio is of the same mind of he thinks it would be best to hold up in the fort here, and if somebody can go get the others, then that might be the best way to do it.
All right, well, if worse comes to worse, I can make myself invisible if I get into a spot of trouble. So I'll head out and see how far I can get. With that many people, they probably left pretty decent tracks. It's only been a couple hours, so I might have some luck following them and try to bring them back as quickly as I can, and then we can figure out from there how to get the rest of the people from Misthome here. I do think that Auburn's going to want to be around for any sort of thing for Aiden, so I feel it's important to at least bring her back. So with that, Kieran will, if he's the only one going, he will go to the edge of the forest.
Uh-huh.
And he will cast Fly on himself.
Okay.
And
Fly?
he will move a little bit faster, but probably in the thing would not, like, it's marginally faster. But he'll do that for the first few minutes just to get a little bit of a head start.
If only you had Expeditious Retreat.
I do. Actually, I could do that instead. Take that back. Expeditious Retreat. Oh shoot, I'm still whispering my words.
Good, you whispered me the Expeditious Retreat spell.
Sorry. Expeditious Retreat. Yeah, so that actually will... Well, it would be the same. My fly speed is still 60 feet, but...
Yeah, but if you're on foot, you could also hustle.
Yeah, so I've got a few castings of that, so I would... that will last for 7 minutes, so I'll just do that and try to get there a little bit faster as I hustle through the forest.
Okay.
And then if worse comes to worse, I still have some invisibility I can cast just to stay. And I can also do dark vision if that makes a difference, just to make it easier to catch up to them.
Yeah, so you would basically, I think, be moving at close to maybe 12 or so miles per hour, hustling after them, which means you would catch them pretty much within an hour or two. You'd catch them before they got much more than four hours out.
Okay.
Which means you could probably begin to lead them back and get here by, like, nightfall. It would be pretty late. It'd be like 11 to 12. But you could get here by midnight today.
Okay. That will be what he will do, and on the way back he can also give some people dark vision just to help make travel a little bit better.
As Kieran is gone, it's maybe a couple minutes pass. Do Frampton and Jessup do anything in particular?
Jessup would probably take Aiden's body and just place it in the bed, and then I guess try to look around to find a place that we can bury him.
Okay.
Yeah, and Frampton would help try and find a
I don't know where.
burial place. Yeah.
I don't really. The garden would be awkward, I think, especially if they try to grow.
I was just gonna ask, I'm like, do rangers bury or burn?
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, in a world where undead exists, like, it's not outside the realm of possibility for people to burn their dead over burying, but...
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, undead can come back almost no matter what you do, almost.
Oh, really? Okay.
But it probably is less likely if you burn them, because you can't just do, like, a mundane animate dead.
Is there a typical way that they do for the wardens? I mean, they go to bury them. I mean, we know obviously they put the two in coffins. That's
easy. Iden's a warden now?
Well, I'm just saying.
He leveled up too, even though
his corpse.
Yeah, I think that it could probably go either way, depending on the situation. Because if you had a large detachment of rangers that all died in a single battle, depending on if you were pressed for time, you might bury all of them or you might burn them all. I think it all depends on the situation. I don't think there's any one way that they would do traditionally. At least I don't think anything is mentioned of that sort.
I think it's thematic to do it either way, because burying him, like, you're burying him in the Famewood, which is, what he fought to protect, but also, like, burning, if you were to burn and then, like, spread his ashes, like, at the top of the tower so his ashes are spread in the Famewood. I think either way it kind of is thematic in returning him to the land and the country that he was protecting.
And I would say that Jessup and Frampton, you guys maybe go into the barracks, lay him on one of the beds, and then you exit the barracks to begin looking around. And as you leave, you see coming out of the adjacent building is Jang and Ruani. And she kind of looks over at all of you, or both of you, and I guess Sirio's out there probably leaning up against the tower, just waiting. And she quietly just kind of looks around and says, "Looks like you're missing some of your members."
Right, well, yeah, I'm missing one or two. Not really a concern, though.
I did say that I didn't expect you to survive, though it looks like you did do better than I expected. I thought that you were all going to die in there.
No, just the bravest of us did.
You don't see any emotion on her face. She doesn't seem to care about the entire situation, but she responds, "Well, I suppose it might be best for me to leave then at some point. I know that you're probably weakened enough that I could finish you off if I needed to, but I think perhaps I'm done with this area. Sounds like you might be bringing more people here anyways, so this wouldn't be a very fun place to stay for too much longer."
Right, well, I did have a quick question. The map up in your room where we first interacted with you, how accurate is that map, would you say?
Oh, it's, as far as the commander was concerned, it was fairly accurate up to, I don't know, maybe a week ago, something like that. I was not the one moving their detachments around or anything like that. I technically had a higher rank, but as I was not a member of the Legion, I didn't truly care about that side of things. I left all of the mundane troop movements to Aigara, who is dead now. So, as far as I know, it was fairly accurate, but I didn't pay much attention to anything other than the dragon's movements.
Right. Well, they seem to have made quite a bit of progress in the short time that they've invaded Nirmathas.
It would appear so. It would seem that the Nirmathi are not as formidable as they like to think themselves. But anyways, I just wanted to say that I'll be leaving here, but... And she would come up to you, Jessup, and she would pull out a dagger and hand it over to you, and it says, "The boy had given this to me. Looks like I won't be returning it to him anytime soon, so I'll leave it with you instead. I plan on heading up north, and with luck, we will never see each other again."
Jessup kind of outreaches, takes the dagger. Thank you.
She turns, doesn't really respond much. Again, doesn't look like she's showing any actual emotion. It's kind of just like a, "I'm leaving now" expression as she and Ruwani turn to leave through the northern bridge. That way. You can see that she has a bag slung over her shoulder. Probably any reagents or belongings that she might have had, if any.
So what was that dagger? Just a regular dagger? Or?
That, I don't know exactly what the dagger was mechanically, but that was a dagger that I believe another character, Theros, who started the campaign, had gifted Aiden. And Aiden had left there because it had sentimental value to him, and he left it as like a promise to Jang as his word. And she's like, "I don't want this if he's dead," so she's just given it back to you. But it was a gift from a friend of Aiden's, basically.
+1.
But Jessup has no idea about that, so it's just a +1 dagger?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is trash, and he throws it on the ground.
Throw it on the ground. Not a part of this.
Lands in Aiden's corpse.
I'm an adult. Unlike Aiden, who's dead.
I'm not part of this system.
Yeah, if Frampton and Jessup were to spend a little bit of time looking around the area, you would determine that the courtyard of the fort itself would not be a good place because the stone is a lot harder there. But there are several areas nearby in the forest that you could make a fairly decent memorial and grave if you so desired.
Yeah, I think Jessup probably would go over to this spot to see if he could bury him, because that's the place where we came in twice. So Jessup would think that that's the place we started our adventure into Fort Travale, and that's where it will end for Aiden.
Yep. If you go out through that, over that bridge, or actually I think that bridge was never collapsed, so that one is currently intact, yes. So you go over that bridge, you could probably, within 60 to 70 feet down that trail, find a fairly decent spot that you could bury him along that trail. So anybody who is entering the fort would see it at the very least. Do you just like take note of it, or are you like spending the time like digging right now? Like is Jessup, does he need something to do to cope with this, or what's going on in his head there?
I think he would take his time looking around, finding it. He's gonna be going like really slow. Slow pace, mopey, not really talking too much, which is definitely not like him. Not really even talking to himself, just kind of walking around. I would say that he probably would start digging. He wouldn't bury him until obviously like Kieran came back either way, potentially, but he'd start digging a spot.
Right. Okay. Is there anything special that you want to do, Frampton, or should we?
I'd probably help him dig.
Okay. the two, interestingly enough, perhaps the two most upbeat and talkative of the group, there, I imagine, in silence.
Yeah, not talking a lot.
It's a very solemn moment for the two that are usually the most upbeat and comical. You guys are digging there, and a couple of hours go by. Eventually, it does start to get a little dark, so you probably stop for the night. You've made decent progress, and you return to the fort, and another hour or two later, you begin to hear sounds outside as Kieran returns with Aubryn and the other rangers. And all of you can kind of congregate in the barracks, I suppose.
So Kieran, would you, when you got up to the group, would you just say we won, come back, or would you spill the beans?
I would have told Aubryn, definitely, and I forget his name.
Cobb,
yes. I would have probably pulled them aside and just said that we were able to defeat the dragon, but it was at a cost, and Iden fell. Not going into like too much specific, but just kind of breaking that so it's not, as soon as they come in, they see his body and it's a huge shock. He wants to make sure that they're aware and that it's safe to come back, and that we'll have to discuss among the group what's going to happen now, because we had found some developments. And he probably, since it's a couple hours to get back, probably would have talked with Cobb primarily about the things that they saw in that room, the maps, trying to keep it under wraps, not, speaking loudly for everyone to hear, but just kind of giving him a brief on, the situation and how it's a bit worse than what we had anticipated.
Yep. Upon that initial information, I think you would see that Cobb doesn't really appear sad because he had only just met Iden, but you do see a hint of anger, and he would probably respond something like, "It's a great shame. He seemed like he was a promising young lad. We've lost too many promising young lads in the past few weeks. It's got to end at some point." And then if you went into more detail about the troop movements and whatnot, he would get progressively more progressively more angry at the situation. And he'd probably start saying things like, "Sounds like their attack on us was just a diversion. Sounds like all of my men died for a diversion." And you can tell that his coping mechanism perhaps is just kind of anger. Like, he's the type that you think he's probably going to, if he had the opportunity, he would go out on a vendetta type thing for all of the men and the women that have died under his command. Which it's one thing to know that your men died in an attack, and another to know that they died so that a bigger attack could happen, and it was just a diversion. Like, that part is probably what hits him the most. Aubryn, I would think you could see that, I don't know what your sense motive is, but she does her best to remain as stoic as possible, but she knew Iden for a long time. Much of what he knew was taught by her, and you can tell that despite her best efforts, it hit her pretty hard. She, as you're going on about all the details about troop movements and all that, she kind of slows down and purposefully distances herself from the rest of the group. Not too far away, but she just gets a little bit further behind. She's not taking part in the conversation as much as Cobb might be. And eventually you do come back to the barracks, and Auburn pretty much immediately walks over to where Aiden has been laid, and you can see her just kind of like place a hand on his shoulder, and she starts whispering some words, and you would be able to tell that she attempts to cast a cure spell on him, but it obviously doesn't work, and you can also tell that she absolutely didn't expect it to work either. And if you are keen-eyed enough, you could probably see that she does start to tear up a bit, but she nonetheless does her best to maintain composure, but it's kind of fraying at the seams kind of a situation with her.
Yeah, when they get back, Kieran will take a seat at this table, and he's pretty exhausted from, hastily trying to catch up to them just to, turn around and walk all the way back. Plus, he's covered in dirt and grime and blood, dried blood, and he's still pretty decently down on hit points, so he's still got, remnants of the acid that took a big chunk of his health, so he's got some blistered skin, and he just sits down, and I guess we all kind of gather, and he kind of leans back and closes his eyes and just kind of waits for someone else to take the lead on, the next steps, I guess.
Yeah, by the time you get back, it is close to midnight. You're probably pretty exhausted from having hustled after the group and then walked all the way back as well. I think I don't think that Auburn or Sirio or Cobb would approach any of you that night. I think everybody is probably, especially Auburn and Sirio perhaps, everybody is physically, mentally, and emotionally fairly spent. And I imagine that everybody just kind of wants to rest again and leave some matters to the morning. So I don't know, do the three of you do anything special, or do you just kind of set up watches and wait until the morning?
Probably just set up watches for me.
Yeah, Kieran would touch base with Jessup and Frampton just to see what they did while he was gone. If they did any looking around the fort, if they found any new information. But he's kind of the mind that, it's not super important to deal with tonight. It's been a really long day, and as long as everything seems to be in order, then probably we would just rest and we can go over things in the morning.
Just would, we found a nice spot that we can lay Aiden to rest. I'm sorry, Kieran, I haven't really done too much here around the fort. Just kind of sitting here and kind of scribbling down some notes, just some things I plan to say when we bury him tomorrow.
Is there any sort of customs that the Rangers do when burying?
Not any more than normal person passing. I mean, morbid to say, but at least in this fight, we have an opportunity to reclaim his body and give him a proper burial. That's more than what can probably be said to quite a few Rangers.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've seen young men die and never get a chance to come back to their families, so it's good that he's got you around, Jessup.
Yeah. Yep, he does. Kind of goes back to writing in the diary. Of course, you can probably see the scene where he's like looking down, scribbling notes, and the tear falls and hits the wet paper. That's what he just kind of goes back to doing.
Okay. The night passes, this time uneventfully. No other creatures burst through doors or anything like that. In fact, it's almost eerily quiet. And the next morning comes, and it's 7 or 8 in the morning. People start to wake up fairly groggily. At this point, the rangers who were rescued have had 2 nights of rest, so they're feeling better. Many of them are still not at tip-top, at least not mentally, but they're recovering to the point where they can go around on their own. They can do things. They're, for all intents and purposes, they're good to go. Is there anything specific that the 3 of you do in the morning? Or if not, Syria would probably come up to Kieran and Frampton, probably. I think he might leave Jessup to be on his own for a little bit, but...
Yeah, Jessup probably would just still be kind of writing stuff down. He probably didn't sleep overly well. Enough mechanically so he's not fatigued, but didn't sleep well. Because I don't want a status condition today. Like, he got maybe just 8 hours, like right on the cusp.
I could think of a few. Shaken could apply. Fatigued could apply.
I'm sure we probably could do a few of those. Yep.
I think Kieran would probably go back up to the third story of the tower early in the morning.
Okay.
To the very top.
That's actually what Syria was going to approach you and Frampton about.
Oh, I can wait then.
He was going to come up to you guys, and unless Frampton went somewhere else, he was going to catch both of you guys in the morning and say, "Look, I know that we had a bit of a rough time yesterday. I think I'll leave Jessup to get his thoughts together, but I figured that some of us might need to go back up there and check around, just, make sure things are in order. We left there pretty quick."
I agree. I wanted to go up last night, but I don't know if my legs would have taken me up the stairs. I feel a bit better this morning, so I'd like to check it out just to see what was up there, if there's anything that might help us. But I think you're right. I'm not sure Jessup's ready to handle that right now. I think he might need some time on his own.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, if you guys leave, Jessup he's just gonna probably drag one of the chairs. He'll like sit up next to where Aiden is and just kind of still write notes, and he'd actually be talking to Aiden, like trying to carry on a conversation with him, just talking about rangers and just all this other stuff. Maybe tell him some stories, ranger stories, just reminiscing.
Yep. So, Jessup, you could go there and you'd be doing that. And I think Auburn would have been there as well. But I think if you start to do that, she would probably respectfully kind of nod in your direction and get up and give you time alone with him, unless you stopped her. And going to the previous conversation, Syria would probably just look over to Frampton and he'd say, "You coming up with us, or you'd rather stay down here with the others?"
Right, well, death doesn't exactly sit well with me, so I think I'd prefer to go upstairs with you guys.
To where there's other dead things.
Well, I killed those things.
Well, thank you.
I feel better about them.
Okay. So Kieran and Frampton and Syria will all go up to the top floor. And you guys are looking around. Go ahead and roll perception checks.
You got it.
Is this water? So it was. Is there still water there?
Yeah, it's coming out of the a spot on the wall, just perpetually. There's a waterfall.
Where's it coming from?
If you look in that direction, it's like coming out of a hole in the wall.
Yeah, but like from the wall, where is it?
I'm assuming
from?
it's magical.
Do they
Blowing
have
our mind right
indoor
now.
plumbing here? Did it spring a leak?
If you
in the
detect magic, you
pipes?
you could detect that the source of the water is indeed magical.
Really? Okay. Is it like a knowledge arcana to roll on what is happening here, or a spellcraft?
This is a spell that is in place.
I feel like that's arcana. I'm gonna roll it. It's the same check anyway. So Frampton
identifying an aura, identify a spell effect that is in place is an arcana. Yes.
Yeah. So my perception is a natural 19 for 24, and then my knowledge arcana is a 15 for 26.
Nice.
With a 26, you are able to identify. This is a create water spell that has been made permanent.
Oh, okay.
So
with
that is what's making this swamp essentially.
Okay. So coming out of the wall, I can assume is like clean water because that's okay. So he's going to like use it, splash it on his face, and kind of run it through his hair.
It's acid.
Yeah, acid. Just to kind of clean up a little bit, and then he will cast his spell. So it's kind of redundant, but he did a little bit of mundane cleaning before he used his fastidiousness spell.
Okay.
And then he'll turn to Frampton and Sirio and say, thought it was a bit weird up here. Didn't have much time to look at it, but I wondered how the water was constantly coming down the stairs. It's a spell. They've made it a permanent create water spell here. So I don't know if this was something the Rangers did to provide drinking water and water to clean with, but it's fresh if you're thirsty.
I highly doubt that it was something the Rangers did. We don't tend to start making waterfalls in the middle of our towers here.
The weird strategic location to put it.
Yeah, the top floor of a tower probably would be not a good spot.
I don't know. They could have had plumbing pipes that go
the Rangers
down.
just wanted water slides to go down.
Yeah.
With your perception checks at 24, and then with a canny observer a 23, you would find quite a bit of stuff up here. You would see that in the bottom of this shallow pool, there's like a flickering of light. Like there's something down there. Coins of sorts, perhaps.
Chinese!
If you, and be prepared to write some stuff down.
I'm ready.
If you spend some time searching through the bottom of this pool, you will find 232 copper pieces.
Okay.
2,114 silver pieces.
Okay.
2,128 gold pieces.
Okay.
I'm rich.
A +1 shock bastard sword.
Aiden would have liked that. Do you want to be buried with it, Aiden? It's another weapon. You know, I know how you worry about your weapons.
There is a +1 light crossbow. There is a belt that you can identify. The weapons I'll give you because I forgot to identify checks. The belt you can roll on, though.
Kieran, do retroactive 2 spellcraft checks.
Yeah, alright. Well, let's just say weapon, belt. Oh my god.
Oh no!
Fantastic.
So for all you listening, I rolled a 21, 22, and then a natural 1.
I doubt the 22 would have gotten it anyway. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, the 21 and 22 would have worked on the belt, but you identify the sword and the crossbow, but you are unable to identify the belt at this present moment.
Bad luck.
You do also find a potion that you can identify. Oh, no. You find 3 potions. 2 of them are the same. So you can make 2 more checks. 2
potions, 1 potion. This will go well.
So do the single and the double.
Yeah, he kind of curses under his breath, and he said, I knew I should have picked up that spell that Jessup has. Make this a lot easier. Potion.
Okay.
Of course.
So the single potion.
14 on the or 14, I guess, would have been the 2 potions because you named them first, and then the 30 would be on the single.
I said single double.
The 2 potions were second, but.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, so
then.
the potion of who knows what, you don't know what. But you do find 2 potions of fly. You also find 2 wands.
Cure serious wounds, I bet.
Raised dead.
Raised dead.
Just kidding.
I don't think you can make wands of raised dead.
No, that would be crazy.
Let's see
expensive.
if you can identify what the wands are.
All right, so 1 wand is an 18, 1 wand is a 22.
Okay, so it's 15 plus the caster level, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm not sure either of them will make it, but
because the caster level for these spells, so identify an item is 15 plus the item's caster level. So the 18 will fail.
Okay.
So one of the wands you don't know, but the other wand you do recognize is a wand of Summon Monster 2. It has 22 charges left.
Very nice.
Okay. And
you also find
unidentified wand. Okay.
And the rest of these are going to be things that will need appraise checks. So the first is a massive black pearl.
The ship?
Yep, the ship.
The whole ship.
It's in this pool.
Man, I wish we now could have a pirate theme on Sirenscape.
I could, but I'm not going to.
Kieran, are you going to roll appraise on any of these? Are you going to aid Frampton, or are you not going to bother with the appraise part of it?
I would try to roll or appraise Frampton. Are you good with appraise?
Do an 8?
I don't know. I have 7.
I have 5, so I could take 10 and aid you. Yes. Go for it.
So 22, you identify that this massive black pearl is most likely worth 650 gold pieces.
And gems are full value?
Yes. All of these following items are going to be full value. They're going to be trade goods, essentially.
Would we say that it weighs like a pound?
This probably weighs, about a pound.
Okay.
That's about right.
All right.
It's
a massive black
pound pearl. That's a big pearl.
That's a huge pearl.
Big pearl.
It's like a bowling ball.
You also find a golden Manticore statue. You can roll an appraise on that one as well.
See, I told you that thing was a Manticore.
Natural 1. I'm not even sure that thing's a...
With a 10, it's probably worth like 40 gold.
21.
She's like, I'm not aiding.
You were aiding.
I'm not aiding.
I'm aiding. I'm just kidding.
So best guess, 40 gold maybe.
40 gold. Okay. So that would probably be another pound.
That's probably half a pound.
Half a pound. Okay.
You find a set of 6 silver dice.
Ooh.
On that.
Frampton will like that for his gaming habits.
Knucklebone!
Knucklebone!
So, with the 8 of 26, these are very, very nice silver dice. The whole set is worth 75 gold pieces.
Ooh.
Very nice. Very
Frampton
nice.
will roll a sleight of hand check to steal those for the party.
As Kieran's looking at them.
Oh, wow. Holy crap.
Hold on. Wait for it. Yep, you took it right out of my hands, buddy.
Didn't even recognize it.
I turned to tell Sirio what I found, and
I don't think Sirio got it either.
You see Sirio looking over out of the corner of his eye, and he kind of smirks, but he doesn't care about dice. So
that's amazing.
He has a plus 11 perception,
wow.
And he rolled a 17, so that gets him exactly a 28 to notice.
Yeah, so Frampton rolled a 28 sleight of hand, Kieran rolled a 16 perception to notice, and then Sirio rolled a 28 perception to notice. So Kieran, he's like, well, that's weird. I thought, well...
I feel like you go to like drop him into your bag without paying attention, and Frampton just like moves his hand over quickly, swipes him, and puts it right in his pocket.
Yep, I like that. That's funny.
You also find a gold holy symbol of, if any of you have like any bonus to knowledge religion, like even without ranks, like as long as it's not negative, you would be able to identify this as a gold holy symbol of Abadar. And you can roll in appraise on that.
Ooh, interesting.
Hey, I spoke to him once.
With the aid, a 19, it's probably worth 80 gold. You also find a silver scepter etched with eagles.
Ooh.
You can roll an appraise on that.
Ugh.
Get your money's worth. I didn't.
With the aid, you get a 14. It's probably worth 50 gold.
I don't believe you.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's what you think it's worth. You also find a set of silver wind chimes embossed with writhing serpents. And this is the final appraise check that I will need. Okay. 17 with an 8, a 19. These are worth probably 50 gold. You do also find another thing. You find, curiously, a bent lance that you're kind of looking at it, and it's broken and worthless. And if you guys take a moment to look at the corpse of Ibziriak, the dragon, you do see a scar that probably corresponds with this lance, this broken lance. It doesn't look like it's worth anything, but might have been kept for sentimental reasons. And that is all you find in the hoard of the dragon. A lot of stuff, really.
Yeah.
He was really sitting on a treasure trove here. A lot of random items, it looks like.
You'd also note, looking around, there's a little alcove in this room. I'm pinging it here on the map. It's on the northern right side of the room. Just a little like 5x5 alcove. And you see some very interesting things in there. As you're looking around, you see a large table in this niche. The rubble has been cleared away from around the table, and a collection of scales, stones, and other oddments are arrayed upon the table around a humanoid effigy made of rotten twigs.
That's a little disturbing.
Yeah. Huh? Oh, what?
There's no magic or anything radiating off of that?
You don't notice anything magical. You can attempt a knowledge religion check if you'd like.
I can't do it.
No.
Okay. Yeah, then the three of you are looking at that, and it doesn't mean anything to you. You would recognize it probably has some sort of religious... You don't know if it's to an established deity or if it's just some sort of cult thing. Hard to say. You can't identify anything beyond that. But it's a bit of an odd, like a pseudo shrine going in there. Kieran, I would say that I'll just give you this for free. You're looking at the scales here, and you would see the collection includes several large black dragon scales, larger than Ibziriak's scales. They are coated with a thin sheen of mold and a few dead centipedes and small smooth rocks covered with black slime.
Gross.
That's disgusting. Can I clean them off at all, or is it...
To your knowledge, dragon scales do not tend to mold.
Yeah,
but
that's
these
odd.
ones have.
I would take these, but I'm not sure I want them rolling around in my bag.
They look squirmy.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. So I'll probably leave them here.
It's probably for the best.
Do you have any idea what this effigy is? Kind of strange for a dragon to have something like this tucked away in a corner.
Well, it looks to have a bit of religious significance. We might want to have Auburn take a look at it.
True. She might know what's going on with it. Sirio, do you have any stock in religion? Do you know anything about?
He looks at you deadpan and he's like, "Did you seriously just ask me if I had any stock in religion?"
Well, Listen, I didn't want to assume. You know, there are deities out there that are doom and gloom, and maybe you fit right in with their congregation. I don't know.
No, I don't have any stock in religion. I don't think they're worth it at this point.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, maybe we can get Auburn up here. I don't know if Jessup has any stock in religion, but I think we might need to give him some time before he goes rooting around up here.
Okay.
Agreed.
That is everything that you find in the Dragon's Hoard. And you guys can go back down, and if you... Do you immediately go and get Auburn, or what are you doing when you get back down?
See, I don't know. I don't want to be callous about it.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of mourning, so it probably would wait until after we put Aiden to rest before we move on with all the business talk, because he doesn't want to come across as not
be callous.
caring.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he's gonna you know, poke around a few other places. I think we had explored most of the areas on our way up. And then I think you
have explored everything except the ghost building.
See, I want to know what's in there. What Frampton saw in there. I want to know so bad.
Oh, hey,
we
got magic weapons now.
Yeah, you got a magic weapon. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but I don't want negative levels.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, we can send the other NPC rangers in as fodder.
It's true. Shield us, fools! Yeah, I think... So again, Kieran, he doesn't want to come across as callous, so he's trying to be very careful about what he says and what he does. So once we kind of go through the stuff up here, he's got a few things that he wants Jessup to look at, but he's going to wait. He's going to hold off. And then he's just going to kind of hang around until collectively we decide it's the time to bury Aiden.
And what time do you all think that you would do that? Would that be somewhat early in the morning? Maybe an hour or two after everybody wakes up? Or would you wait until like noon or...
I have no idea.
I think Jessup would, be done with writing his notes and stuff there and things. So I would assume by the time that they come down, he would be ready to get it done.
Okay.
It's, just kind of get it done and over with, and hopefully be able then to move on.
Okay. In that case, everybody reconvenes at the barracks, and everyone begins to make their preparations. Is Jessup carrying Aiden, or is he going to leave that to Kieran or someone to carry him to the destination?
He probably would maybe even ask Cobb to help him.
Okay.
As 2 rangers to help carry him out.
Yep. The two of you begin to carry Aiden out, and there's a procession that kind of follows single file in a way. You're followed by Auburn, and then probably Kieran and Frampton and Sirio, and then one by one the others come out to this spot that you have marked. And it's already mostly been dug. Maybe a little bit more time, and with the number of people you have, it doesn't take long. You set it up, and you have everything ready. And as you begin to lay him in this grave, are there any words that are spoken? I envisioned it almost like how you go up and you maybe take a handful of dirt, and as you throw it into the grave, you maybe give final words.
Kieran will step up and he will take a handful of dirt and toss it in, but he also takes a handful of the scales that he had taken from the one fort. I would say he had 10. He probably takes half of those. And he kind of sprinkles them on the grave. And he'll step back and say, I didn't know Aiden for very long. It's been only a couple of weeks now, but he was probably one of the most hard-headed people I've ever met. He was stubborn. He was rash. He didn't listen to a word anyone else said. All he talked about was freeing Nir Mathis, joining the Rangers. But there was something about him. There was a charisma to him, something that drew people in with his talk of freedom. He was also one of the bravest men I've ever met. When he said he would do something, he did it. And while he may not live to see the freeing of Nir Mathis, what he said has resonated with enough people who will go out and do it. So with that, Aiden, I think you accomplished your mission. You became a ranger. You killed the dragon. And now you can rest. And I'll step back.
Who is next?
Frampton will hop in for a couple of words. Right, like Kieran said, I didn't know Aiden very well. I didn't know him for very long either, but he was brave and he did fight for what he thought was right, and there's honor in that. And he managed to live by principles and ideals, which is better than most can say. And Nir Mathis is a sadder place without him. And then he'll step back.
Because Jessup will go up next, and so he'll go up, dirt in hand, and you go to speak, and like no words come out for a minute, and clear his throat. Gosh, I think I'm actually almost out of words, speechless. That's really surprising. Kind of does like a half smirk. I only knew Aiden for a short amount of time during my travels out of retirement. Heck, I didn't even know that I had a nephew that was still alive. I have known many rangers over the years and recruited quite a few into our ranks. You'll kind of pause for a minute, look at Cobb and nod. Aiden was a brave lad, braver than many rangers I have known. I'm glad that I was the one to be able to recruit him into our ranks. Without him, we never would have been able to take back the forts and defeat the dragon. Aiden was always true in his beliefs to free Nir Mathis, and always true to himself. As Kieran said, he may not have freed Nir Mathis, but he did free the Ranger forts. We are now here to say goodbye, and I'm sad to see him go. But I know now he'll be able to see his mother and sister again, and meet the father that he never knew. I know Brett will welcome him with open arms. Aiden, you were free as a bird, and free as an arrow. He tosses the dirt in and kind of wipes his eyes and gets dirt on his face a little bit. And Jessup kind of looks up and puts a big smile. Well done, Aiden. And he kind of walks back and joins the group.
After Jessup steps back, I think Auburn would step forward and she would grab a handful of dirt and she'd be silent for a couple seconds and eventually she would speak. I knew Aiden probably more than anybody else here. For what it's worth, I trained him to some degree. I found that it didn't take long and he had surpassed my skills by quite a fair margin. Yet I can't help but feel that perhaps I didn't train him well enough. She kind of pauses for a bit. Aiden, you are stronger than any other ranger that I've ever met. And I'll do what I can to carry on your dream. One day Near Mothis will be free. And when it is, we'll tell tales of you. And she would step back. And next up, Syria would go forward to give some words, and he would say, I've lost friends and family a number of times now. At this point, I'm starting to get used to it, as much as I hate to say. I'm afraid I'm not a man of many words. I don't have anything inspirational to say here, but one thing I'd like to say, mostly for the other rangers here, something to think about. The rangers, the Chernisard, are wardens. They lead by example. They're elected because of their acts. And I'd like to think that no one here could dispute that in terms of act, in terms of example, this young boy, younger than almost any of us here, his example was of the highest quality. And then he would step back. And I don't think the other rangers would have much to say. None of them knew Aiden for more than a day, really. But they would each go up in turn, and they would grab some dirt and toss it in. And I think a lot of them would take inspiration from the previous people who spoke, and they would, maybe all they would say is they would mutter out those aphorisms, the freeze a bird, freeze an arrow. Perhaps that's all that they say. And
I'd like to think that when they start going up to toss dirt in, because they didn't really know Aiden, but Jessup would speak up. And I know that many of you didn't really know Aiden like we did, but as you toss your dirt down there, think of it as we're not just burying Aiden, but the other rangers that have fallen over the past weeks that maybe will not get the same proper burial that he will.
I think probably the moment you say that, the rest in line, seeing this in a whole different way now, probably start tearing up as they walk forward, because all of them have lost people dear to them. They might not have known Aiden, but when you phrase it that way and they start viewing this from that perspective, all of them start to well up, some of them handling it better than others. And eventually, the last person in line goes through, and at that point all that's left is to fill in the rest of the grave. And do you have any sort of grave marker in mind? Perhaps, I don't know if this is what you would do, but perhaps his great sword. You could just plunge there as the marker for the grave. Or if you had something else in mind, I don't know.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. We could do that. But we can tie it and put his bow across it as well and tie it together so it looks like a cross made out of his great sword and his bow.
Yeah.
And I think Kieran would have also collected up the dragonbane arrows that he had shot. Even though technically they're useless now, you
have 3 that weren't shot as well.
Okay, so he probably would have taken those, and he probably would have buried them in the grave. Wait, when we saw the grave, we didn't open the grave, did we?
Nope. I told you that there were arrows in that grave, but you did not actually open it to see.
Okay, so he would probably just bury the arrows in the grave with Aiden.
Even the 3 that weren't shot?
Unless somebody stopped him, you would. Unless you had them. I don't know if you had collected them, Jessup, because you could have done that. I was thinking more the ones that actually had like been stuck in the dragon, but I didn't realize he had 3 that were unused.
Yeah, there were 3 he didn't shoot, but there were a couple that you could retrieve from the dragon. A couple flew out through that opening hole and are probably lost forever, but you could have grabbed the ones from the dragon as well if you wanted.
I think he specifically would have taken the ones that were expended, because those were, like, that's what Aiden used to kill the dragon, and that's what Kieran's going to bury Aiden with.
And I think Jessup would bury Aiden with everything that he had on his persons, except he would take those 3 arrows that were not shot. Not that he wants to disturb Aiden, but knowing that there's another dragon that potentially could be a pain, he would want to use those. Mm-hmm. But everything else he would bury with him, and then as they finished putting everything on, Jessup would pull out the dagger, and I did not bury you with this dagger, as I will keep it as a memento. The dagger of the wardens. And this dagger will continue moving forward to tell its story. And he sheathes it.
Okay. Everyone probably stands around this grave in a circle for a few minutes longer in silence, and eventually, one by one, people begin to respectfully bow out and head back into the fort. I imagine probably the 3 of you and Auburn and Sirio perhaps are probably the last 5 there. How long do you stay, or do you have anything else that you'd like to do at the conclusion of the ceremony?
I think Kieran, at the conclusion, is going to kind of post up on a tree nearby, kind of sit down with his back against the tree, and he's going to pull out the bottle of wine that he had, and he's going to share the drink with Aiden like they had promised to do. So he'll just sit there for a while, just drinking straight out of the bottle, and just quietly have that final moment with Aiden.
Okay. Frampton and Jessup, are you sticking around, or are you going back into the fort?
I think Jessup would kind of look around at everybody and thank you all. I appreciate it. I will go retire back to the tower, actually, to where we found the maps and Jang, and kind of look around there for a bit. Frampton and Kieran, when you're done, if you want to meet me there, so we can, I guess, talk about what's next.
Oh yeah, I'll go on with you.
Sirio will also follow alongside you. Auburn will stay behind a little bit longer, but she will say to you, Jessup, she will, before you leave, she'll say, just so you know, if you ever need someone to talk to, I'd be happy to tell you more about him.
I would like that very much.
And she nods and lets you head off towards the tower. I imagine maybe it's only a couple more minutes before Kieran probably finishes.
Probably 15 minutes. Yeah, he would probably spend about 15 minutes out there, and then he would come in.
Probably shortly after you, Auburn would also follow. And eventually, the 3 of you, Sirio, Auburn, and Cobb, all meet up in the war room of the tower to figure out next steps. is anyone first to bring up a thought, or are you probably maybe waiting on what Cobb or Sirio or Auburn have to say, or what's?
I think once everybody gets in the room, just will I never really kind of came out of retirement. Honestly, the whole reason for me to even go back to Fort Riston was so that I can speak with the rangers in charge there and attempt to get my son, Rizran, recruited into the rangers to find a new home. Have a hard time being able to connect with my son. And so I just wanted to find him a home and a place maybe where he would be happy. Ever since his mother died, we've gotten even more distant than before. And then I obviously, being ambushed by hobgoblins and then having you guys find me, and then now here we are. But I kind of looked down when I saw Aiden had perished. Couldn't help but think that could have been my Rizran as well. He's still, as far as I know, out in Longshadow. My home, and kind of points to the maps. By the way this is looking, I feel like I gotta get there as soon as I can, but I mean, look at me. I wouldn't last a week. I mean, I'm not gonna wither away. I'll die. I'm not quite the fighter. So I think we gotta come up with some plans and obviously do them a little quicker, but I trust that he's gonna be okay. I still the last ranger from my party, Brock, he's got some skills in survival and stuff, so I know if they smell any danger, they'll I think they'll be okay. But anywho, did you guys figure anything else out? Did you go check on the little Scarface up there?
Right. Yeah. He had quite a stash of items up there, which I'd like to have you take a look at, Jessup, if you can. He'll turn to Cobb and Auburn and he'll say, "This is the map I was telling you about." He'll hand the items over to Jessup if you want to look at them while he's talking, and he'll say,
yeah, he'll probably, just because he will use Identify to give myself plus 20.
So we have the belt, potion, and wand that were unidentified.
Okay, so how many things was that? I'm sorry.
3 things.
A single casting will do it. But it would be 3 checks.
Yeah, yep. So I did 1 cast of Identify, and I'll roll 3 times. Unless...
You can... Actually, I think you might not be able to fail with a plus 20.
I have a 21 spellcraft.
Yeah, I think you might auto-succeed. Let me just check the belt.
So if I took a 10, yeah, I would have 31.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yep. You identify the belt as a belt of incredible dexterity plus 2. You identify the wand as a wand of fireball.
Oh, wow.
With 16 charges remaining.
Does Kieran have another element that he can use?
I mean, it's on his spell list, so he could use it, but...
And the potion is a potion of hide from animals.
Interesting choice.
What does that do?
It helps you hide from animals.
When you say it that way, I get it. I'm assuming, does it like no scent or something, or?
Let me just look it up real quick what the text says. Animals cannot sense the warded creatures. Even extraordinary or supernatural sensory abilities like blind sense, blind sight, scent, or tremor sense cannot detect or locate warded creatures. Animals simply act as though the warded creature is not there. If the warded creature touches an animal or attacks, then the spell ends for all recipients. This is a potion, so you'd only be able to have it for 1 person anyways.
What's the duration?
10 minutes per level.
Sounds at least level 2.
It is a level... It is a level 1 spell.
So 10 minutes.
So 10 minutes.
So Jessup will kind of go through and... Oh, it's a belt dexterity, and this is a wand of fireballs. Hands that to Kieran, and a potion of... Frampton, you're going to want this. If you drink that, animals won't be able to see and or smell your body odor.
What, are you saying I stink?
I don't, but an animal may.
Well, that animal's a jerk.
Slave Frampton, when you go without bathing for a few days, you do kind of start to smell a bit ripe.
Oh, you might think that your spell makes you smell wonderful, but it doesn't.
It does.
You don't know. We all smell you. You smell of feet.
Well, I guess then I'll just be keeping this belt of dexterity then, is that...
Fine with me. I'll steal it later.
Do you already have a belt of dexterity? Because I don't want this to be a situation where you already have the item, like someone else.
Like it was the other day. Hey, you can have it. I already have one. No, I don't have
I think
one.
you should take it then. I think that...
Yeah, I only have a... the headband of charisma + 2 is the only...
Yeah.
What is it? A belt
Sirio doesn't have a belt either.
Whatever.
He goes and buries or unburies Aiden. Takes his.
What is it? A belt of what?
Belt of incredible dexterity +2.
Incredible.
Yes.
Oh,
Which technically we could have 2 of if we'd taken the one off of Aiden.
Jessup would not have unless you guys did without him knowing.
Kieran goes out later and digs up the grave and takes the belt.
I'll help you with that. We can do that.
No.
You guys are terrible.
Ooh, that's some good decks.
I think Cobb would
Tasty.
probably respond to Jessup's earlier mentions, and he'd say, "Yeah, I think you were probably pretty lucky to get out here before anything was going on in that area. Timing might have been just right for you. Heading back now alone would probably not be the wisest thing." He rubs his forehead. He says, "There's a couple things that we definitely need to do here before we can mount any movement in that direction. But I do agree we need to get out there as soon as possible, spread the word, make sure that everything's okay. I think first order of business perhaps might be, you mentioned having survivors somewhere else in the Fang Ward. Might not be a bad idea to have them come out here and see if we can't pool all of our forces at the fort here and renovate it, get it up and running again, make sure that everything is safe here. And once that's done, we can start sending out scouts in the direction of Long Shadow and see if we can't find a clear path to start making our way in that direction. Or at least maybe sending out a small detachment, a forward detachment of sorts. Sounds like Jessup would be more than happy to volunteer for that as soon as we're able to. Is there any other thoughts that you guys have that we should be aware of before we figure out a way of bringing these civilians back to the fort?
Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing that we need to worry about right now is getting them safely here. I know they've set up quite a place there in the caves, but I just don't see it as being very defensible if someone caught wind of the location. And we've already seen that the owlbears came through and attacked, and if they didn't have fighters like Hurge and the siblings, then, you know, it could have been really bad. It's not a comforting thought leaving them behind there without, you know, better protection. I think here it makes more sense. You know, we had a hard enough time trying to get into the fort the first time that I don't think it would be an easy thing for hobgoblins to do if they were to come back. The rangers know this place. They know how to operate it. My only fear is the thing that's in that one room. I don't like the thought of civilians being around. You know, it only takes a curious kid to go in there and then we're burying another body.
Auburn would respond at that point, I think, and she would say, I agree. It's probably best that we deal with it sooner rather than later. I have some ability, perhaps as a cleric, to try to fend off the undead to some degree. Maybe while we're waiting for the others to get here, we can maybe prepare and take care of it. Sounds like it can't leave that room, so maybe we can figure out some way of stalling it, and I can maybe get rid of it with some positive energy. I can maybe prepare, consecrate, or something like that. We can deal with it.
This time it won't have the jump on us. We didn't know it was there before, kind of caught us off guard. I took the brunt of it, but this time we know it's there. We know what it's capable of. I think we might have a chance. We've got more people around this time also, so I'm willing and ready whenever you want to take care of it. But like I said, probably first and foremost, we need to figure out how to get the rest of them here safely. It's not going to be an easy journey.
So, unless there's any other order of business, I think what we will do is we will kind of skip forward a bit. It is going to take you a solid 4 or 5 days to travel back to Mistholm. It would probably take a day or two to get everything around and ready to go to come back, and then it would probably take 6 or 7 days with that many people to make it back to the fort. So we'd probably be skipping 2 weeks minimum, maybe a little bit longer than that. But I would say that you would eventually be able to make it to Mistholm, and unless there were particular scenes that you wanted to have with the NPCs there, the only one that I have in mind is that whoever of you goes there, I imagine the 3 of you at least, unless one of you would rather stay at the fort. But whoever does go to Mistholm, upon arrival, you would see a very familiar looking tree not too far away from the cave entrance. And it would speak to you as you approach, and whoever's there, it would say, "I've been watching you for some time to make sure that you are not the same as the others that I had seen. And as far as I can tell, you did not cause undue harm to the forest. You have been respectful, and you have not disturbed its inhabitants. I thank you for your respect of the forest. Myself and all of the trees, thank you. If you would like, I can offer you assistance for as long as you stay here. I cannot fight on your behalf, but I can provide you with sustenance so that you do not have to worry about harming the animals to feed yourselves. If you would like. And perhaps if the trees and the leaves hear any rumors, I could convey them to you from time to time. What say you?
So did we all go back to Mistholm?
I don't know. Whoever wants to be part of the conversation can be there.
I think at least, I don't know if everybody would go or not. I know Jessup, I think, would go to help. I, for some reason, just had a feeling that maybe there would be a couple people that would be apprehensive about going from Mistholm here. So we'd try to use his oratory skills to convince people to come up to the fort.
Yep.
Are you, Kieran and Frampton, did you go with us as well, I'm assuming?
Yeah, Kieran would go to provide more of a force of protection, moving this large group of people through the forest.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I mean, the situation that we're in right now, I would probably not turn down any help that we can get.
Much appreciated that you would side with us like that. I know you tend to be neutral, but any help that you can give us is appreciated. And we'll continue to do what we can to protect the forest around here.
I side only with the forest. But as long as you are not enemies of the forest, I will not be your enemy.
No, definitely not. I mean, you could even ask, we got Hertz right over here. He loves the forest.
I have been speaking with him for some time, yes. And Herge kind of waves. So basically, Longfrond, grateful for the lesson that not all humanoids are wicked, becomes a staunch ally of the Chernosoro Rangers. You would find over the next 2 weeks or so that she is generally pretty quiet, maybe a bit irritable at times, and generally just observes things. But you would know that she is on decent terms with the region's less aggressive Fae, so not the Fae at Fort Riston, but the less aggressive ones.
Not the blighted Fae.
Correct. And basically what she can do for you is, while you are in the Fangwood, she can basically provide you with all of the food that you could possibly need. In mechanical terms, if we were still doing provision points, the book just says a couple months worth of provision points.
Basically,
so,
stop doing provision points at this.
This is the point where it says, stop it if you have not already stopped it. And also, it says that she can provide you, essentially, she gives a +5 circumstance bonus on any knowledge local or knowledge nature checks that you guys make while in the Fangwood to identify regional threats or anything like that. She basically just gives you a bonus on those checks, as she has the ears of the trees.
Oh yeah, speaking of checks, before we left, did you guys take Jessup back up to the dragon there to go see the fetish and all that other stuff?
Oh yeah, I would have asked out Auburn as well.
And Auburn also.
Yeah, you can make a knowledge religion check.
Is that a bonus that you get anytime you're in the Fangwood, or only when you're near her?
It's basically assumed while you're in the Fangwood that she is providing you information.
Oh, like whispering to you through the trees.
The trees.
Maybe.
It's like picking up a conch shell, man, and it talks.
Ah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty
You
cool.
wake
Or
up in
maybe
the middle
she's
of the
just
night.
always conveniently there.
Or just
She's a stalker.
Did the
She follows
trees
you everywhere you
Hello
go,
there.
so you don't do anything bad.
Did the tree
So what,
move in front of Misthome?
It was currently in front of Misthome when you guys got there, so it must have moved there.
Creepy.
Cool.
Perch picks her up and moves her where she needs to go. So, I guess, Auburn, if you were to give me a numerical value on your religion, what would it be? I don't know if we want to try to aid each other.
Auburn, I can't remember if she even has knowledge religion. I think she does, but it's not.
I'll say she's a cleric. She would at least,
high.
I think, at least one rank.
She has a +4 knowledge religion.
Okay. Can she aid then?
She can aid.
And then Jessup will expend 1 charge of his heightened awareness. Give me a bonus as well. Yep. And I believe that's +2?
Yes, it's a +2 on knowledge checks.
Okay. I don't have it programmed in, so it's just going to be 2 to whatever this is. Or actually 4.
Yep,
If she
4
aids.
higher than. Yep.
22.
22. DC 20.
Ooh.
You're looking at this effigy, and more so even than perhaps the effigy, you're looking at the surrounding oddments. The mold, the centipedes, the grime, the slime. You see that this bundle of rotted sticks, it looks like it is a holy symbol of the demon lord, Sith Visug. More accurately, it's an approximation. You're able to determine that while this basically looks like a holy symbol somebody made after seeing the real holy symbol, like they saw it and they're like, oh, I'm gonna make that myself. So it's not exact, but somebody intentionally made this. They were trying to make the holy symbol of Sith Visug. And what you would know about Sith Visug with that role is, again, he is a demon lord of fungus and parasites. Originally a Clippeth lord, he is older than any of the demons now residing in the Abyss. So he's an old guy. You would know that he is chaotic evil. His areas of concern are disease, fungus, parasites. He resides in the Abyss and is often known as the Prince of the Blasted Heath, or Demon Lord of Fungus and Parasites, or Lord of Filth and Pollution. Often worshipped by certain alchemists, black dragons, Darrows, drow, ex-druids, polluters, and evil vegapygmies.
Ooh, I want to meet one of those.
How do you spell that?
You spell it as I just typed. Just now. Goodness gracious, why can I not do it? That. Sith Visug.
It's not at all how I expected it to be spelled.
C-Y-T-H.
He's a
V''S-U-G.
Interesting. Wonder why a dragon had an effigy of a demon lord up here. Must be he fancied it, I guess.
I will link the wiki page if you want to see what his holy symbol looks like. I don't have a handout for it.
Sith slug.
Sith slug.
It goes with the barf nest.
See, that's why there was a barf nest. He's a Sith slug.
Kieran looks at that holy symbol and like covers up a tattoo he has on his arm. Just kidding, he doesn't.
Look at this thing's tiny head. It has a tiny head.
A tiny head.
Look at it. It's so small compared to its body.
The tiny head.
Tiny head.
that's what you would learn of that holy symbol, that little strange shrine of sorts.
Neat.
I am going to hand wave the encounter with the Spectre. With proper preparation, if Auburn has something like Consecrate or any of the cleric spells that are
Turn
useful
undead.
against there, with her channel energy, all of that stuff, it would not be terribly difficult. Somebody might get negative levels, but it's not, I don't think, worth bothering with as we're skipping forward in time here. So I will just go over what you found in that room after defeating the Spectre.
Ooh. Okay.
If I can get to the right
More loot.
building here.
Okay, Jason, you could have just hand waved the encounter with the dragon. That's what Brandon says.
Right?
Yeah.
Would have made this a lot easier on all of us.
Yeah, I would have still been here.
Let's just stick to the story
You
beats
just-
and
I'm gonna hand wave it, and Ein's dead.
I think I
So-
rolled a dice and I died.
So you guys already, I think Frampton already noticed the stash in there. He beat the perception check. So
Yes.
you would find 512 gold pieces.
Ooh.
14, they look to be medals. You can roll me an appraise and a knowledge local or knowledge nobility on those.
Wait, metals or medals?
Medals, like
Medals.
Olympians.
Jessup will roll,
Ooh, I have
Local. and I
Oh.
get +5 to this.
Oh my goodness. I have... We both rolled a 20.
Because we all recognize the medal.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. So we got a 25, 25, and a 30.
Okay. So, all of you, so with the appraises there, each of these medals is worth 25 gold pieces. Well, 13 of the 14 are worth 25
And there's
gold pieces.
14 of them?
There's 14 of them. 13 are worth 25 gold pieces. And you are able to identify them as Multhuni medals. most likely taken, perhaps, from fallen Malthuni soldiers.
No, I put them there.
And they're just mundane?
Yes. The 14th one with your... Did anybody roll knowledge nobility?
Oh, I can roll knowledge nobility.
Okay.
Man.
So, 27. So, Jessup, you are able to recognize that the 14th medal, which is much more intricate than the others, appears to be the medal of some noble house. This one is probably worth twice as much as the others. So 13 of them are worth 25 gold pieces. This one's probably worth 50 gold pieces. You don't know exactly which noble house this is, because this is a noble house in Malthun. You're not into like the politics of Malthun or anything. But you can roll me an intelligence check or a wisdom check. Just a straight one of those two.
Well, they're both +0, so we're gonna go wisdom. Nope.
Okay. Yeah. It's some noble house. You don't know the name of it. You don't think you've ever even seen this symbol before, but you can tell it is distinctly a noble house of some sort.
And my 15 didn't give me anything.
Your 15 would have also distinguished it as a noble house, but nothing more than that.
Boo. I have the same bonus as Jessup in that too. That's stinks.
That's roll of the die, as Frampton would say.
Very true.
Knuckle boom.
Malthuni medals, it seems odd. Do you think this person killed these Malthuni and just kept their medals as trophies?
I would assume so.
And you would find 2 magical items.
Ooh.
Sure.
A bead and some gloves.
I'm sure Serial might like these medals.
I will aid on a spellcraft on the bead and medals.
I'm just gonna use Identify.
Okay.
So that'll give me a +12. And then I'm assuming that I can just take a 10. So that'll put me at... So with +12, I have a 23 bonus, so taking a 10 would make it a 33.
So with a 33, you were able to identify DC 30, a bead of force, and then DC 16, assisting gloves.
Oh, I already got gloves. Which ones did I get?
Were they assisting gloves?
Apprentices, cheating gloves.
These are assisting gloves.
So how's the bead or force work?
I believe it's a one-use item. I think so, yeah. So, yeah, the explosion completely consumes. So, one-use item, basically, you throw it up to 60 feet with no range penalties, and upon impact, it explodes, sending forth a burst of 5d6 points of force damage to all creatures within a 10-foot radius. Once thrown, it functions like a resilient sphere. Reflex DC 16 negates, with a radius of 10 and a duration of 10 minutes. The sphere is not subject to damage of any sort except for a Rod of Cancellation, Rod of Negation, Disintegrate, or Dispel Magic. So you can basically throw it, deal damage to everybody in an area, and then trap a creature inside of it for 10 minutes. Of course, you can't harm the creature, but the creature can't harm you.
That's pretty cool.
Interesting. More interesting magic items that have been in this fort.
And the assisting gloves?
I believe the assisting gloves, they just give you...
They assist.
Aid another. I don't know if it's an action that they can do that. It's... The wearer can speak a command word to create a glowing, disembodied hand. As a swift action, the wearer can have the hand assist him with a task as if using the aid another action. The hand uses the wearer's base attack bonus or skill ranks when making the check to see if aid another is successful. It remains until it has attempted one action or until 1 minute passes, whichever comes first. At which point the gloves become non-magical.
Yeah.
So this also appears to be a one-time use.
Yeah, it's a one-time use.
Interesting.
But it's a one-time use, like extra aid another check, basically.
Now, I already have these fancy gloves on, so I don't know if either of you want these.
No.
They look pretty sparkly and fashionable, though, Frampton.
Oh, yes. I'm not about sparkly, though.
I'm not sure they quite suit me. Maybe we can just keep them in the haversack and decide later on it.
And also, just so you know, when you returned, you would have returned on like day 45. Navi, the trader, would actually be there. She arrived, I think it was, I have it here. She arrived on day 43. So she's been there for 2 days now. And so you caught her while she was there. So items that you would like to sell, you can do so. I believe she can only purchase, I have to find what it was, but I think it was she could only do 500 gold per item, I think is what her max was.
It was low. We can figure that out.
Yeah. I'll look that up after the session, but just keep in mind that you could sell items that you need to over this time skip as well.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of mundane things that I've been tracking to sell, so we can discuss that afterward.
And what's her inventory?
So again, I'll have to look that up, but I think it was I think she basically has the equivalent of like a small town, whatever a small town would have, but I'll look that up and I will let you guys know. And over the next week, you can figure out if there was anything that you would have liked to purchase or sell, and you'll have that moving forward.
And I know Aiden had put in an order for things, so we would probably settle that as well. I have
no recollection of what he ordered.
I'd have to re-listen to the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, then we just won't worry about it.
No. We could square, because it was to Kining who was supposed to take care of it for him. So technically, it's already happened. So whatever he purchased is
whatever he purchased, Kining would have.
Yeah.
I just don't remember
resell
what that was.
You resold it.
Sorry, Aiden's dead. She's like, oh, sucks to be him.
Sucks to be him. Already got his money.
Yep.
You guys return.
Too soon, guys. Too soon.
Honest pay for honest work. Yeah, Jamie's dead. I guess this is mine now.
Yeah. Oh, well, he's not coming back for it.
You guys return to Fort Chevale with all of these civilians in tow, and like I said, it probably takes the trip there, getting stuff ready, coming back. Probably a solid 2 weeks of time has passed before you come back. And when you return to the fort, you notice that there are a lot more people than when you left. If you go to Cobb or Sirio, they kind of fill you in that while you guys were gone, they had sent out scouts here or there to various readouts to see if there were any surviving rangers. And there actually were quite a few of the Chernosardo Rangers who were out patrolling the forest or went into hiding when the forts fell. And they came forward once the Iron Fang Legion's leadership in the area has been broken, and they kind of trickled into the fort over these past 2 weeks. And all told, nearly 50 additional Rangers show up.
Wow.
So at this
I
point...
would have loved to seen that.
Right.
Yeah. At this point, you're close to a little shy of 100 people that you now have in this group at this fort here. A good number of them able-bodied rangers. And when you guys return, maybe a couple days after that, you would eventually be approached by the leaders, basically Cobb, Sirio, and Auburn, and they essentially have some reports that they would want to give, more or less.
I've been intentionally silent most of this session just because I'm dead. But are you kidding me?
Nope.
Are you actually joking right now?
Just reading the book.
Because Elwood or Iden would revel this moment. And they're gone. They're both of them.
Was Elwood Ranger too?
Elwood was not a ranger, but he was on...
He was a commander of the Multhuni
filthy
army.
Yeah, he was a military commander. That's true.
I'm not sure why he would like this so much, but...
He'd be
Pretty
like,
sure he'd be
you there,
freaking out. Yeah.
I think I killed your friend one time.
He had a
Like, oh, look,
redemption
come on,
arc
you to
planned,
kill.
guys. He had a redemption arc planned. Goodness gracious.
They always do.
Yeah, well, he's dead now.
They always do.
Oh, that would have been one more medal that Sirio would have added.
Oh.
So, you guys come up to the war room here when they come to give these reports, and Cobb would step forward and he would say, it's good to see you all back. It's been a while, and looks like you've managed to bring in all of these civilians here. We'll get to work on getting them some accommodations and looking after them here. I did want to bring to your attention, while you were gone, we had two patrols that went missing. We don't know exactly what's happened to them, but they were investigating Blooder's Bend. It's kind of on the way to the Hollow Hills there. And I don't know if maybe remnants of the Legion are there, or there's still some dangers of the forest that we don't know about, but we're not quite ready, I don't think, to head out to the Hollow Hills yet. But when you do make your way out there, if you could stop by the Blooder's Bend and see what might have gone on and what happened to him, that would be much appreciated. Additionally, we had some reports come in from one of the other patrols that noticed some movement in the Fangwood. Looks like there is another group of civilians, survivors of sorts, that are actually fairly nearby. They're maybe half a day's journey, also kind of in the direction of the Hollow Hills, but mostly far north. We haven't made contact with them quite yet. The troop that I sent out just noticed them, took spot of the situation, and then came back to give the report right away, and they only came back a day or two ago, so we haven't had the time to further investigate. But I thought that I'd bring that to your attention if you wanted to check that out and see if those are civilians from the Hollow Hills, perhaps, and if they have any information that they can give us before we start to make plans to head out that direction.
Right, well, I think that's the only way we have, the only lead that we have currently is, it seems this map, for whatever reason, Long Shadow's been safe from this expansion, and we've already spent a few weeks just getting people settled here, so I think ultimately our paths are going to lead us that way. But if there are survivors out there, I think maybe we need to see if we can bring them here to safety. I don't know what the rest of you think.
Well, if it's on the way, I'm sure they have some patrols and things set up from the Legion to help maybe cut off any potential support going back out to Long Shadow. Plus, once you leave the forest, there's a little bit too open space to get to here to Long Shadow. So
you know, this map, it's a few weeks old, so who knows? I don't mean to be a pessimist about it, but it's entirely possible that their expansion has moved even further, and it's concerning as it stands. I think we need to make haste and see if we can find Long Shadow still standing or not.
yeah, so I guess when do we head out then? Look for survivors first?
I suppose in I guess we'll want to check on these patrols as well. I don't like the idea of patrols going dark as soon as we've started sending them out again. Doesn't bode too well.
Has, what's that? The tree. The tree there. What's its name?
Longfrond?
Longfrond. Does, she know anything?
I'll certainly ask her and see if she has heard any rumors going around the forest.
Jessup's just standing in front of a tree trying to engage with some random tree in the woods. Longfrond, can you hear me?
Longfrond's just
come
watching
in!
like, humans are so strange.
Like, what is he doing?
If you were to if you were to ask Longfrond, she would say that most of her attention has been spent in the immediate area. However, she can easily send out a couple animals to check things out in that direction. She has seen numerous detachments of what she now knows to recognize as hobgoblins. And I would say that you can just infer that it's not so much new scouts being sent into the Fangwood, but probably the remnants of the Legion. Any patrols that they had out in the Fangwood while you guys were fighting in the fort and just kind of got stranded. They've been kind of moving around here and there. So asking her, you'd probably come to the conclusion that it could very well be some deserters or a stranded patrol that is just kind of picking people off as they go.
Maybe it's about our time to do a surprise attack.
Good idea. They've certainly done enough on us.
And Cobb would add, he'd say, like I said, the survivors are not too far out. You could probably get there and back in a day, and probably would be a good idea to lead them back here quickly. The patrols, if they have been attacked, hopefully they haven't been killed yet, but if you were to find them, if there are any survivors, they should be able to make it back themselves. So if need be, that could be a one-way trip, and you could just hit them on the way that you're going to the Hollow Hills there. It's up to you on how you'd proceed with that, but I just wanted to bring those to your attention.
Well, it sounds like these survivors are maybe out there on their own, unable to defend themselves, so maybe we better see what's going on with that, see if we can bring them back here, and like you said, then from there we'll be able to just travel straight towards Long Shadow, not have to worry about circling back. How do you feel about that, Jessup, Frampton? Are you still in this?
I mean, the sooner we can clear out more of the forest, the sooner I can get home.
Absolutely. We need to help those in need, and if it sounds like there's survivors still out in the forest, we should make haste to recover them.
Yeah, I say we'll find the survivors first. You know, the ranger patrols, I mean, hopefully they can take care of themselves. Survivors on the other end.
Yep. And you can see that Cobb has been organizing things as best he can. He's essentially trying to fortify this position so that when it does finally come to counterattacking and basically making a full-out war, that there's some sort of base of operations here. And that's what he's been busy with. So, do you guys plan on going pretty much quickly as possible, heading out to find those survivors then?
What time of day is it right now, I guess?
By the time that you got back and he gave his report, he probably would have given it in the morning of that next day. So it's you've got the full day that you could go try to find them and come back probably just in this one day.
Yeah, if it's earlier on the day. I mean, if it was in the afternoon, I don't know if Jessup would want to go out per se. I can't really see in the dark.
Oh, we don't have to worry about that.
Okie dokie.
Okay. You guys begin heading in the direction that you were given, that the scouts last saw these survivors, and you get to a spot where you do see the tracks of numerous humanoid individuals. and you begin to follow those tracks. And given the number of them, it is not hard to follow. It takes maybe another hour or two before you finally come across a ragtag survivalist group of sorts. You see what looks to be in a small area of the forest with really, really ramshackle makeshift tents that have made out of like branches and leaves and whatnot. You see what looks to be about 23 people. As you approach, they kind of begin to cower and hide, except for 2 individuals. One of them looks like this. Where is that handout? One of them looks like this. I'll put it in all players' journals and show.
Oh, he's definitely Multhuni.
He does look Multhuni.
He's totally a Multhuni.
Because if I get this right, Multhuni's like kind of Roman-esque in features, right? Like they look like Italian to some degree. Is that right?
Sort of. Technically, though, Multhun is made up of Chelaxian and Taldane mostly, but Chelaxians are kind of everywhere. Not as many Verizians in, as far as the Pathfinder human ethnicities in Multhun, but just like anywhere in the Undersea region, lots of people live everywhere.
I love that you say that as if that's like, oh yeah, okay, now I know exactly what Chelaxian and Verizian and Taldane look like.
Right. Well, thanks for making it so clear to me now.
Thank you for that real world application.
Okay.
Yeah.
The answer is sort of Romanesque is not wrong. But
Anyway.
because Multhun was originally
part of the Chelaxian Empire.
So it was originally under Taldor, and then Cheliax broke free of Taldor, so it was under Cheliax, and then eventually it broke free of Cheliax for its own independence. So a lot of people, they kind of liken Taldor, well, like some of the people here that I'm looking up, some people liken Taldor to like the Byzantine-esque empire in its decline type of thing. Multhun is often considered like militarized, like Northern Renaissance Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is what some people say. This is not canon. This is just what some people on forums say.
Sure.
But yeah, that's kind of what you're looking at here. The other individual... Josh, can you describe this other individual?
Oh, I do show up.
Oh!
What?
Is he Multhuni?
No,
Can you
he's
describe
Ebro.
me?
Let me show this to everyone as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I can't see what they can see.
I see a rose in hands.
Oh my god.
Why do you make the most punchable characters?
Oh
Punchable.
my gosh. Is he some soap opera?
Yeah, right?
It's like the Legolas of fame.
I can't see what they can see. Nobody can see it. Make it so I can see it.
I just showed them basically the front
just
page
have to
of your
go-
character sheet, just your image.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can just open your character sheet
Well-
and show your image.
Yeah. Right now, though, he doesn't look like that. He's got his. You'll see a person in
Oh, we see a person. Thank you.
Good start.
full plate.
Face?
Yes, he does. Actually, though, he's currently
So
wearing.
he looks okay. So he currently looks like this. You mean?
Yes. Yes.
He's in the river.
Yeah.
Oh.
He currently.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, blow that up again. Yeah, he's currently
Okay.
fully decked out in even more ridiculous full-plated armor than what is pictured there. Yes, Sarah, the stereotypical paladin. He is not
Are
one,
you a
however.
paladin?
He's
Oh, you're not.
No, but he looks like one.
What?
He looks exactly the part. I have a description here if I can pull up the right thing. It's not working for some reason.
Oh, wait a minute. I just had an epiphany. I think I know what this character is.
Really?
Kineticist.
An epiphany? You think you know?
Yeah.
He's
A paladin
barbarian.
that's not a paladin.
Divisions.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it.
It's pretty out there.
I would whisper it to you, but then all of the stream would see, so I'm not going to do that either.
That's okay. You look across, however, though, and you see a silver full plate armor etched in gold blindingly reflects any light that it catches. Clean ornamental paint depicts roses as if embroidered along the edges of each plate and seam. His shoulder piece bears the face of a lion, and hidden beneath an outer cloth etched into the center of the breastplate is a symbol of the Inheritor. Atop his armor, he wears a scapular depicting a rose growing out of blood-soaked streak. A DC 20 religion check, and you can learn what that is.
Oh,
we got a new GM.
Backseat GM over here.
That's right. This character is covered in a mix of heraldry and religious symbols, making it somewhat difficult to know what order or god he actually serves. Despite his personal changes to his armor and dress, you know, or Jessup would at least, he is from Lastwall. He is wearing the armor of the Knights of Ozum, if not dramatically modified.
Can I do a knowledge local on that, Jason?
Sure. You can. I have the DC here. It's actually going to be knowledge geography or nobility.
Wow, this makes it way easier for me.
Well, never mind. Wanted a local, but that's fine.
Okay, the Knights of Ozum are a religious order, a military order found in Lastwall, stationed in the capital city of Vigil. They hold all of Lastwall, but these are, think of the Night's Watch, except not, instead of everyone being criminals, everyone is paladins. This is a holy order that defends against the world wound and the demons that threaten the Inner Sea region at large.
And the orcs of the Holds of Belkzen.
That too, yes, and the orcs. There's two fronts. There's the one that holds up back all the undead, and there's the one that fights the orcs.
I could be wrong, but I think that's partly why they're called Lastwall, is because people kept getting pushed back from Belkzen, and then Lastwall.
Correct, in the capital city of Vigil. So
they're all paladins? So did you kill a paladin and take his armor if you're Mr. I'm not a paladin, but I'm one of the Knights of Ozum?
They're not all paladins. They just happen to be a religious order who is holistically dedicated to Iomedae. So their classes obviously vary. You'll have clerics, you'll have paladins, you'll have inquisitors, you'll have all different types of PC classes, but they are a holy order. There's actually, I wanted to pull up a little bit. I can't get it for the stream, but if you just look them up, there is official art. Paizo's got a ton of official art of what these guys look like that can help get the idea in your head if you ever want to do that. But yeah, very well established order of religious people.
Charging battery.
Yeah. And
hi there. You look a little misplaced here in the woods.
Oh dear.
What do you get, like 5 foot of movement in this area here?
As you think of how to respond, Josh,
yeah.
The three of you can all make perception checks.
Oh, Jason's GMing again. Thanks.
Oh,
followed.
Nice.
Are you okay with that, GM Josh?
Perception checks.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay if Jason takes over for a second.
Just because I looked up the DCs doesn't...
We're all totally just like, who is this weird guy wearing full plate armor in the middle of the Fang Wood?
I should also mention, by the way, that it is incredibly bright. Technically, I need you all to make a will saving throw.
Well, you're in the Fangwood. It's not bright light. So...
Oh, okay.
All right.
True. Yeah.
Simmer down there, GM Josh.
That's true. In areas of bright light. That's right.
Yeah, you're not in bright light right now, so it's fine.
That's fine.
So basically, you're never going to be around Frampton because Frampton's going to be like,
stay away from me.
Light.
No,
dim light.
You'll look. It's polished. Like it reflects any bit of light that it catches. So yeah, very bright.
Frampton and Jessup can now roll heal checks. Because you got a DC 15 perception, so now you can roll a heal check.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You noticed something, but what is it?
What is it that you noticed?
Heal is not my forte.
Frampton, something does not look right about these people.
They're undead!
With the exception of the fully plate mail guy. You can't see his skin or anything, but all of these refugees or civilians or whatever you'd like to call them seem to be pale and sickly. Jessup, you are able to identify that they are all suffering from some sort of disease, though without a very close inspection, you can't identify exactly what it is.
But the two that approached us seemed fine. Well, obviously the one clad in
the one guy
armor.
that I showed you, who you saw the name on his image, the Naspin Jarth, he looks also very sickly. The other guy, I mean, he's covered from head to toe in armor, but he is not holding himself in a sickly fashion. He looks fine.
Jessup kind of like steps back and, are you guys okay over here? You're not looking too good. No offense. I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, you probably are attractive when your flesh tone is at its normal color, but you just seem a little off.
The one guy would respond. He says, "Everything's fine. Yes, I have it. I have everything under control. We are dealing with it. Yes."
Oh, that sounded bad.
Do you mind telling me what might be around going on here?
It's just a fever. What? We're not used to the Fangwood. It'll pass. It's fine.
Does, I don't know, sense motives
Yeah.
say anything differently?
Sense motive. You get a very particular idea about this individual from his reaction here. It's almost certain that everything is not fine. You get the sense that this guy is probably the leader or the self-proclaimed leader of these survivors and is trying to convey a sense of control and a sense of knowing what he's doing. So it seems like he's saying, you know, like, everything's okay, like, I have it under control. You get the sense that he very much doesn't, but he's saying he does. Like, he's almost convincing himself that, like, he's got this.
Okay.
Josh, your character would know everything is not under control. Basically, for your own edification, you encountered this group as it was fleeing towards the Fangwood. You stayed behind a little bit to fight off their pursuers, and then you caught up with them a few days later in the Fangwood. Everything was mostly fine up to that point. This individual, Naspin Jarth, had basically taken lead of the group. He was kind of organizing them as best he could. Very much amateurish. It's being from Lastwall, you would probably liken it to like the son of someone who's important.
Yeah.
Like trying to be important in a sense,
right.
Almost. Like maybe his like father or grandfather was like the mayor of some small town or something like that, but that's kind of the impression that you got. So you took it upon yourself to maybe not necessarily try to wrest control, because that you knew that might not go very well, but you would support them as best you could. So you probably went out and did the hunting for food and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, one day while you were out hunting, you came back and found that they had all basically gotten into a deer that they had found, and it was not in the best of condition, we shall say. And basically anyone who has knowledge dungeoneering can roll a knowledge dungeoneering.
How
identify this.
How many of them are there?
There are 23, not including yourself.
Right.
All of them have some sort of affliction.
And this happened today?
No, this happened, I think, either yesterday or the day before. It's very recent, but it was not today.
Okay.
So
Jessup will kind of know there's something off and be like, I guess if that's what you say. Looks over at the other guy, and what say you, knight in shining armor?
He the armor clinks as he then goes to remove his helmet, and you do finally see such a charming man as that.
Punchable.
Is he's not inflicted though, right?
No, he looks
No.
fine.
If you
Are you
look
like
over,
fine or fine?
I think it was like fine.
fine.
He looks fine.
It's probably both, I would say.
I'm also
is
concerned because we're all
with
dudes, and
juicy.
he's like, I look fine.
I just want to get that point across.
if you compare the two, and taking some time to really look at them, you can see that Naspin Jarth, in some of his, like, he has his sleeves rolled up. You can see in like some parts of his skin, it looks like there are spots, like strange spots and shapes they're twitching and moving under his skin.
Is this rock rubs?
Rock rubs?
There's something very not great going on, and you do not see anything twitching underneath this knight's skin.
Yeah. Anyway, as he takes off his helmet, he will say, I am Gideon Everstand. It is a pleasure to be meeting your acquaintance. And he steps forward to Jessup as the one who talked to him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hail from Lastwall, and I know about as much as you do. I found these survivors in the Fangwood a few days ago. What was it, DM?
You found them about a week ago, or a week and a half ago. You've been with them ever since.
But recently they've all fallen under some affliction that I cannot identify, and my divine magics can't seem to help. Would you know? And
I kind of saw some rot grubs a few weeks ago, but this not quite the same. Looks back at the other guy. What was his name again? Did he say did he say his name was Naspin or not?
He did not even introduce himself. No.
You there? I do speak for your group. I'm not sure that you're okay. I think you have stuff under your skin moving around, which, you know, I'm no medical professional here, but I would say that that's probably not supposed to happen.
I'm sure you might not be aware of this, but there are many bugs in the forest. It is unfortunately just, you spend enough time in the forest, if you don't know what you're doing, bugs tend to get at you. It'll be fine once we get to a safer place that's not so open.
Jessup will attempt a diplomacy check to convince him otherwise. That I'm actually a ranger, and I spend quite a bit of deal of time in this forest here, and I don't think that that's the case. I think there's something really wrong with you, and if you wouldn't mind, we probably want to take a look to see if we can help you, because you being the very good leader that you are, if you don't find help for your people here, you ain't gonna be a leader of nobody.
Gideon gives you a look as if this is what I've been dealing with.
Go ahead and roll your check there. 21. Okay. So you say that, and he kind of like, his eyes go a little bit wider as you say that you're a ranger, and he says, yes, very good point. It's good to see that we're on the same page. That's exactly what I was thinking as well. Yes, we should definitely take a look at these fine folk. Good point.
I'm glad we're on the same page. You are a smart one.
Yes,
I know why you are in charge.
As I said, I know what I'm doing.
Certainly. I will never question you again. So, you there, what's your name, Josh?
Gideon.
Galleon?
Gideon.
What? Gideon?
Gideon.
Sir Gideon, so you're not sure what happened with the people here you've been hanging out with?
Shakes his head no.
Oh, so, okay, well, Jessup will look at the guy. So when did you start noticing, your skin color changing? And thingies moving under your skin?
It was only a day or two ago. It's very recent. I'm sure it will go away with time. But you are a ranger, so perhaps you have dealt with this before. It shouldn't be too difficult to handle, I'm sure.
Sure. I mean, we probably just want to diagnose. So I'll just ask a few more questions and make sure I get a grasp on what we're dealing with here. So, did you, roll into anything, or play with something you shouldn't have, or did you ingest something, maybe?
Gideon's nodding his head when he says ingest something he shouldn't have. Gideon just nods.
When you say that, you hear one of the people in the group from a distance kind of yell out, and I'll censor their language slightly. You hear a man's voice yell, "It was the freaking deer!" And then Naspin is like, "Oh, yes, well, there was a time, this fine knightly fellow, he was out hunting, and, you know, we are simple folk. We didn't know if he would be coming back or not. It's a dangerous place out here, of course. So we came across a fallen deer, and we figured, you know, in the chance that this fine gentleman ran into trouble and wasn't able to return, we could use this to supplement our provisions. So we began eating the deer there, and some of the people in the group think that perhaps it was infected with something, and so that is one possibility."
Did you cook it or did you sushi it?
We did our best to do a campfire and cook it a little bit.
When he talks about eating it, Kieran kind of like turns his head and gags. Like the thought of someone eating like a deer that has been dead for who knows how long is like utterly deplorable.
I mean, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You know, eating roadkill sometimes, I guess, if, you know, that's what you think. Is the deer, like, what's left of it still around here at all, or?
You could probably find it. It's we left it where we had it there. It's in the forest, probably a couple 100 yards that direction. We've moved a little bit since then, but we haven't been able to move a whole lot since people have been.
Moved 100 yards in like a week.
Okay.
Well, you know, the symptoms only began to appear a day or two ago, and once they did, we didn't make much progress.
So it's like literally everybody infected besides Gideon?
Because everybody ate except Gideon, who was out hunting. Gideon, you would know that you came back recently to this, and you were kind of at a loss. You're like, how the heck did you guys manage this? I was gone for like half a day.
Literally, because he's been escorting them otherwise, correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
Saying that Justin and I are parents. I know.
Yeah. 5 minutes and they'll get into something.
Yeah.
As I'm streaming right now, who knows?
Who knows what they got to do?
This guy, Naspin, he looks like he's probably late. He probably looks like he's at least in his 20s. He's like 20. He's like early 20s. He's a young guy.
Okay. Well,
he knows what he's doing.
So, if you don't mind, you know, with your permission, being the leader in all of this, branch-angled group here, I'm gonna have Gideon go with me to show me where the deer is, because he probably knows exactly where it is, a couple 100 meters away, and then we'll go assess the situation, and then we will report directly back with you.
You know, he says, "Yes, I was about to make that suggestion myself. In fact, we'll be waiting here and carry on."
Okay. Dark, tall, and handsome, let's go.
He nods. "I will be your shield." And he walks.
Does he have a shield?
Yeah, a huge one.
Okay.
Clank,
Tower shield?
Clank.
Not a
clank,
tower shield.
Yeah,
clank.
But
didn't he go out hunting? Isn't that what he was doing? That's why they ate the deer.
That's why they ate the deer.
Full plate armor to go hunt.
He's not gonna find anything.
No, what he meant to say was he's.
I'll have you know, I bought 3 javelins for which to hunt with, and I like to think that with enough rolls in a
taking
row,
down elephants.
he got one.
Go.
Well, yeah, there's a reason it took him half a day.
Guys, he's trained as a soldier. He's not trained as a hunter. He didn't grow up here.
Either that, or there are reports from people in the Fangwood of a naked man with 3 javelins.
Guerrilla war
Tree on front. She's like, I don't know if you needed to hear this or not, but there is a naked dude running around with javelins out there. Just be careful.
That's the report that I should have had Cobb give you.
We're gonna retcon that so we can make it canon. Okay. Anywho, we get over to.
Yes, you make it over to the deer. Gideon is able to point it out to you pretty quickly. And
give them each
you
a
can
moment.
inspect it.
Give him each a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Just
can
picture
inspect it.
Tarzan now. That's all
I was picturing him running through the jungle with a javelin Just butt naked, throwing them at a deer.
My image is of Mountain Blade, when you've just got like huge javelins sticking out of your character model, but you're still running around.
The other ones were tethered to his loincloth.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right, that was just mildly amusing. Okay,
Yeah,
so what do we...
I'm good.
What's the deer look like?
So now that you're seeing the source here, I will allow you to re-roll your checks. Again, you can aid each other. You can take 10 if you so like, however you want to handle it. But it is a knowledge dungeoneering.
Okay.
You can again aid or take 10, whatever you like to do.
Jessup will look over, and okay. So let me think about this. So he pulls out his wand. I'll heightened awareness myself. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. And does anybody want to help give me some tips on what they think around here?
Is there any tangential knowledge checks that'll work?
This is a very specific thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frampton coming in hot.
Well, no, actually. At the source, I guess you could do a heal check instead.
I have been stumped for a long time.
Heal 0. Whoa.
I now just secretly rolled my first roll for the character, but it was whispered. I can
doesn't count.
Safely say
the my dungeoneering did not have the +2 from heightened awareness.
Jace,
well, so
do you wanna tell the world what Gideon's first roll for the whole campaign is?
Yes. So re-rolling the knowledge dungeoneerings, Frampton got a 26, Jessup got a 29. The heal checks, Kieran rolled a natural 19 for a 19. Gideon rolled a natural 20 for a 20.
That's
count unless it's visible to everybody. Nope.
So,
nope.
This was a DC 19 check. So Gideon had a 10% chance of finding it, or of figuring out what it was each time he tried to look at it.
Can you take 20 on a heal check?
So did Kieran.
Yeah. So you guys are able to identify this now. This infection that this deer had is it's infected with wolf in sheep's clothing eggs, basically.
Something like that.
That sounds
so a wolf in sheep's clothing.
It's a wolf and sheep deer?
No, it was
chimera.
infected. So
it's chimera. Another chimera.
So
that's the name of the infection?
Of the creature that the infection came from.
Is it
a wolf in sheep's clothing appears at first to be little more than a tree stump sitting in a clearing, perhaps with a small animal sitting atop it. Only when a predator comes close does it become clear that the small animal is in fact long dead, given false life by tendrils springing up through its form. But by then it's too late, as the wolf in sheep's clothing drags the would-be hunter into its waiting maw. Though intelligent, these monsters see little need for company of others. Their method of reproduction is as hideous as their tactic of using corpses as lures, for they implant their parasitic eggs in living hosts, giving their spawn a fresh meal to eat upon hatching.
Ooh.
So this basically tells you that this deer was infected with the eggs of a wolf in sheep's clothing, which means you now have 23 people who are infected with the eggs of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Everyone except Gideon, roll a knowledge intelligence check. Roll an intelligence check.
Oh crap!
Good old +0. 8.
Classic.
Okay.
Dang it! 9.
Nice.
Frampton got an 18, Kieran got an 8, and Jessup got a 9.
Frampton
Kieran
is twice as smart as we are.
Yeah.
Kieran, you were helping Aiden scout out the fort. You recall, so we're on the fort map. So if you scroll up to the northern bridge, you can see there's at the base, there's a little alcove. Aiden had spotted a crack in the wall, and in front of that crack, he had saw what appeared to be a tree stump with a frog on top of it.
Oh.
And Frampton, you're suddenly coming to the realization that there's a high possibility that that's not a tree stump at all.
Oh boy.
Oh. And it's still there?
Yeah, you would know. I'll give you. So you guys all rolled really high on the knowledge engineering, so I'm just going to give you a whole bunch of information about these things. They have a speed of 5 feet, and a burrow of 5 feet, and a climb of 5 feet. They tend to stay in one place. They're not overly mobile creatures. Knowing that one's down there by the water, it's probably just been fishing, basically, for who knows how long.
Like the dragon, it just has a little fishing pole coming out of a tree stump.
They were
Who knows
fishing
how long
buds.
it's been there. But you would know that wolf in sheep's clothing are generally neutral medium aberrations. They have all-around vision, which means they cannot be flanked. They have pretty decent AC and hit points, pretty good saves all around. They have 9 attacks, a bite, and 8 tentacles.
Oh
And
my!
Every single
goodness.
tentacle also has grab and pull. They have 15-foot reach with their tentacles. They have constrict, and then they have a special ability known as implant. A wolf in sheep's clothing can infest a creature with its eggs in a couple of ways. Basically, if the target fails, it has a parasite, and the parasite can be cut free of the host with a heal check, which takes 1 hour and deals 3d6 slashing damage. Or a remove disease could kill the implanted egg. You'd know that wolf in sheep's clothing egg is an infestation, not a disease. Technically, it's an infestation. Onset is 1 day. Frequency is once per day. The effect is 1d4 strength damage until reduced to 0, at which point it takes 3d6 damage as the parasite bursts free. And you need 3 consecutive saves to cure it.
Oh, like if Frampton shares any of this, or if anyone shares any of this information, Kieran kind of takes a couple steps like back away from the deer, because he's having horrible flashbacks of the rot grubs, which were sort of similar in that they like burrow into you and cause like an infestation, and he's like,
well, Jessup would know as well, because obviously that had happened. I think Frampton may... I don't know if he saw it, because you were trying to fight the pixie, so I don't know if you actually saw
Frampton
what had happened, per
ripped
se.
one out of Kieran's foot, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that what he did? He did
That
like
was
a
a
heel
cow-
kick
that was
and
that
then
cow
ran
trap.
up. Oh, that was a cow trap, okay.
yeah.
Ran up and ripped something out.
Yeah, because Aiden did that, so
Yeah,
Jessup would
Aiden
like kind of
battery.
look once we start talking about it, and be like, Gideon, I know we just met you, but I'm gonna say we encountered something very similar weeks ago. Our friend Kieran here was affected with what we call a rot grub, and we were lucky enough to try to get it taken care of within, Kieran, what would you say, just less than a minute. And these poor folk here, though, it's been how many days? I don't know.
With this knowledge, you know, again, your rolls were pretty good on that identification there. Your estimation, you've got 2 days before people start dropping.
And is it contagious?
It's
Like, are they
contagious.
gonna explode like the rot grubs did?
If people go to 0 strength and the parasite bursts free, it's not like it'll infect other people, but you will basically have mini wolf in sheep's clothing walking around.
Oh my gosh, no. Can we just stamp on them at that point?
Yeah, they would
Whack-a-mole?
not be dangerous because they'd be so young, but it would not be cool.
Oh, this is giving me real chills. I don't like the idea of this.
So
It sounds most unpleasant.
Brandon says the easiest thing is probably just using a few casts of that fireball wand.
On the
Problem
people?
solved. Yeah, why not? But
Kill the people.
hey, my favorite character, Arthas Menethil, he did that in Strathholm. Not a sponsor, but just saying.
Oh, speaking of
Well,
sponsors, which we aren't sponsored by, Beautiful Sounds provided by Sirenscape.
Maybe Sirenscape has a delicious sound of bugs being ripped out of bodies. That's
Nope.
close enough. The Wilhelm
Nope.
scream is close enough.
So if you would like, you could roll a separate knowledge dungeoneering or knowledge nature check.
Nope.
Sure. What
I don't
for?
think I will.
This is related to the disease here.
Would Yeah, I would still have heightened awareness on, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so this will be, again, +2.
And you can aid each other if you want.
Nice.
27.
Okay, no need to aid. 27. So, Jessup, you are a ranger. You've been in the Fangwood before. You're actually fairly familiar. You haven't encountered this yourself, but you've heard plenty of stories of people, of other rangers dealing with this. And the rangers actually have a pretty effective solution to this, like an alternative to like a potion of remove disease. They've actually found that gloss leaf, an indigenous shrub to the area, is actually highly toxic to wolf in sheep's clothing, but only mildly toxic to humans. And generally what rangers would do is, if somebody were ever unfortunate enough to be inflicted with this, they would scout around to try to find the berries of a gloss leaf bush and make a tincture of that and then give it to the person, and it would essentially function as a non-magical potion of remove disease, but only for the purposes of removing this particular infestation. So you think that you could probably spend some time canvassing the area to find gloss leaf to make potions. Mechanically, I'll just tell you how that will work out. Is each PC that canvasses the nearby forest can locate up to 1d6, like berries equal to like 1d6 tinctures, assuming that you succeed at a particular DC of a knowledge, nature, or survival check. Each check requires 1d4 hours of searching, though.
If he is able to describe what it looks like, can I use perception?
I don't know if you want to.
I would let you do perception, but it would be at a higher DC than if you would use survival.
Sure. Gideon will ask you to describe exactly what it looks like in as much detail as possible.
Sure. Let me just think. Consult my inner mind. What would it look like?
The book does not give a description, so I encourage you to be creative.
Oh.
You can make it whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
We're role-playing, dude.
So, okay.
Imagination.
So you gotta go around and you gotta find this bush, and they're gonna look like, I guess, almost like a blueberry, but it's a darker blue. Now there's another plant out here that's very similar, a different shade of blue. Do not pick those ones. So I would use your survival skills if you have it, or knowledge nature.
Will you be able to tell the difference of what I gather?
You could, but it's going to be very hard to
Then I will
perceive the difference.
Gather everything. And he literally
Crap.
And he will spend however long it takes until he's stopped. Like,
there's one check there.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess let's think about it. So, one check will get how many? Cure
A successful
potions?
check will give you 1d6 equivalent, and each check is 1d4.
Okay, so we all need to go out. Okay, so survival or nature.
Can I just get a bonus because I have a +0, so I actually rolled a 13.
Well, didn't I keep gonna butcher the name. The nice tree give us a bonus to local and nature?
If you bring these people back to the fort and consult with the rangers and Longfront, she could aid you, perhaps.
Oh, but we don't get an aid unless she's with us.
Yeah, you'd have to go back there, and you could enlist the aid of the rangers. That's also an option, but you'd have to head back there.
And I would tell these, these people here, where it's like, I want to help these people, but if for some reason we can't cure them all or anything like that, I don't really want to divulge the location of our fort and have them come in to potentially spread stuff. You know what I mean?
Right, we can't risk taking them back until they're cured.
So let's go find some berries. Gideon, just I guess grab everything, and I'll just have to spend extra time sorting through.
So what's the DC to pass?
I know what the DC is.
Gideon,
did we pass? I'm seeing Gideon doing a lot of stuff. Did we?
He spends the next 6 hours looking for.
I'm waiting for. Okay, there we go.
Sorry, I was
Okay.
debating if I wanted to use survival or not.
So Gideon's first check. Gideon, Frampton, and Kieran, all three of you, your first checks. You're going out. The three of you miraculously find nothing remotely similar to what Jessup described.
Typical.
So that's 1d4 hours that have passed in that first attempt.
Oh, they're gonna die.
Which was 2.
I accidentally rolled 2d4, but I rolled 2 1s, so
Yep.
I'm probably just trying to rush. I'm like, no.
Just like trying not to gag while.
Oof.
Yeah.
So Jessup with a 26. You very much succeed at the DC. So, in fact, you exceed the DC by more than 5. So I'm going to say, with how well you did on that check, I will allow you to roll 2d4.
I need to roll like Jerome's mirror image checks.
Those have been
Crap!
4s.
That's not
like,
too bad.
Every single time, man.
So that's 5 that you get on your first roll a d4 to see how long that took for you.
Roll low.
4.
Shoot.
Okay. So Gideon's first check was 2 hours. So he attempted a second time with a 24 perception check. I increased the DC, but a 24 will still be enough, even if the DC is increased by 2. So you can roll 1d6. And that took 4 hours. So that puts you at 6 hours. So you guys got there probably midday. So Gideon has enough chance for like 1 more check, but we'll get to that. Kieran's first check was a failure. He rolled 2d4, so the other one would only take 1 hour, but he...
I didn't roll again because I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Okay, roll another one.
Nice.
Okay, so that's a failure as well. So 2 hours have passed. So Gideon's at 5 hours. Both Frampton and Jessup are at 4 hours. Go ahead and roll again.
Me?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I
No,
rolled.
I'm trying to get Kieran caught up time-wise.
So, I'm rolling survival this whole time. Should I be rolling perception?
No, survival is better.
Well, I have a 0, so that's why everything is garbage.
That's a stealth.
Oh, that's a stealth. That's also garbage.
You can roll perception if you want. It's a higher DC for perception.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so 0. You have a 5% chance of hitting the DC, actually.
Is it 18?
20.
20.
Oh, it's... Oh.
25
Gee,
for...
whiz.
I didn't
perception,
increase
I
it by 5.
Oh, not by 5.
No.
Who's stealthing?
So roll another d4.
Kieran's practicing his
Kieran.
naked javelin.
Kieran, roll a d4.
Yep. To see if he's caught up in time yet. Okay. So you're at 6 hours. Gideon is at
6.
6 hours. Frampton is at 4 hours, but he rolled another perception check. So Frampton, that would succeed. So roll a d4 for time, and then a
2?
d6 for...
Yeah.
Okay, so 3, that puts you at 7 hours.
Come on,
And
lots of berries.
Another 5.
Take 5.
And Jessup, you can also have one more attempt. .21. You meet the DC just barely, so you can roll a d4 and a d6. So 2 more hours. 2 more. Okay. So that gets you a total of, I think, 17 total? 5552?
How many people were there?
23. So there's another 6 left. So here's how it'll go. You're at the point in the night where if you wanted to make it back to the fort, if you delay any more, you're not going to get there until after midnight. So if you wanted to head to the fort, you'd have to go now. You do know, like I said, you have a day or two before the worst happens. Do you want to stay out here, or will you take them back to the fort? It's up to you.
Right, I think we should maybe take the Nile. I don't know. I don't think we should take the sick back.
Well,
we can try again tomorrow. See if we can find something tomorrow, and if worse comes to worse, you know, if we don't find anything tomorrow, then maybe we think about taking them back.
I'm assuming we're talking in private.
Gideon's not there.
Yeah.
No, I'm yelling this out to the entire group.
Oh, very good.
Naspen Jarth is definitely right next to you.
It's too bad.
It's okay. He's going to agree with everything I say. Oh, I suggested that you leave us here to die. And that's what I was thinking.
I said that was a good idea. That was my great idea.
I know it's a terrible thing to say, but I'm conflicted. I don't necessarily want to bring them to the fort, especially, with us having north of 60, 70 people there to potentially get infected with these little grubs running around. Guess the only other thing I can think of is what if we do put them in like the would there be enough room, Jason, if we wanted to put them there with like the dog kennels, assuming that's cleaned out? I mean, is that big enough that we could put these people all together?
For sure.
Put them in the dog kennel.
And you would know that if it is infectious, it would not occur until, like I said, probably a day or two. So you have all of tomorrow at least to do a full-on search as well.
And if we do that, then maybe we can have some of the other rangers come and help look for some berries too. I don't know if the gods will allow that or not.
We should just try. I think between the 4 of us, we made some good progress today.
It's
Honestly,
true.
I didn't do anything, but you guys were able to find a bunch, so I think
I mean, I wish I could help you, but I couldn't find you. I didn't know where you were. You were like all sleuthing around there quietly.
I was gagging over in the corner.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. Alright, well, I guess you guys think we should bring them back. I still recommend quarantine. For everybody's sake.
I'm saying we stay here. We camp out here where we found them and just search around here tomorrow. Like we did today. Like we've got the whole day. And then if we can't find enough tomorrow, then we talk about going back to the fort. But I think we still have time to find enough for everybody tomorrow. Because they only need 1 each, Jason?
Yes, each of them needs 1 of these.
So we only need 6 more.
Okay. So I guess, can we start making the tea for quite a few of them?
Yeah, you could begin the process there.
Okay.
Just so you know, might not hurt to have extras, because technically remove disease it's a check against the disease DC, so it's not necessarily guaranteed. These work like remove disease, but it's not necessarily guaranteed, so it might not hurt to get as many of them as you can tomorrow.
Anyhows, do I succeed?
Yes.
Oh, this is the next day?
That's 10 hours since we started.
Yeah, so you would be... Actually, no, that would fail because the book says the DC increases by 5 as you get to the end of daylight.
Even with a source of light?
Yes.
Okay.
They are most easily identified by color.
Kieran casts dark vision, and then he's like, right.
Which
color.
Dark blue is...
That's a thing, isn't it?
tough to see at night, which makes sense. Good job, Brandon. Nice flavor. All right, that's fine. I will keep looking.
Through the night?
Yeah. Enough to not replenish spells.
It is now DC 27, just so you know.
It doesn't matter.
For you.
Maybe you should take off your armor to help you get around faster.
Looks like we got us an overachiever over here.
Put some clothes on!
He, if anyone does recommend that he takes off his armor, he'll stop for a moment to consider it, and then won't.
He'll be like, I need some help. I can't do it
out of
himself.
It's true, he can't take it off himself.
This is correct. He also doesn't have endurance as a feat, so he can't sleep in it either. He's got to don it every morning. He's got to take it off.
He needs help taking the armor on and off.
Correct.
Yeah.
How does he use the bathroom?
Well, I feel like the knights used to just go.
No, that's not the case. They had lots of ways to deal with that.
One of the many RPGs.
It's a magic. Y'all should have spent a ton on the catheter of holding.
So anyhow, so that's 14 and a fail. That will be. So from 12 to 14, is it now?
It's got like the horses,
enough?
like the little bag in the back.
In the morning for light to break through? Not yet, probably, right?
Oh no!
It's attached to a shield.
Fails because he's getting so tired. Another hour passes.
Oh! Look at this guy. This goy.
Anyway.
How do you go from a nat 1 to a nat 20?
Cheating.
Okay, so that was
4 hours.
15, and then 19 hours straight.
Oh, it's because he felt bad because they ate the deer because he sucked at hunting.
Just so you know, I'm probably gonna rule that you go straight to exhausted.
I'll accept that. Yeah, no, he just worked.
I would say fatigued if you were not in heavy armor and doing this for 19 hours straight.
He was doing it for 19 hours. Jessup, Kieran, and Frampton fell asleep, and they found another dead deer.
But he got 6 more.
Yeah. So you're getting there.
That is the limit. He can no longer walk.
We just find him. We just find this shiny metal pile in the morning.
He's like on his back, but he can't. He's like a turtle on his back.
He can't get up.
Literally, it is actually physically impossible for him to keep walking. So he is going to.
I told you should have did it in the nude.
Come back
thought I was being funny.
at the tail end of that 4th hour with 6 more berries for his night of work. So
yes.
Hey, that's like an entire day almost.
Yep, and then he will collapse and fall asleep.
And then we all leave and come back to the fort.
Well, because I mean, yeah.
Oh.
So, in total, as the next morning comes, you had 21 berries that you found? Total?
Total? No, more than that if we count everyone's, right? Or me personally.
Or was it... Well, what was it?
I'm gonna go
There's so many die rolls.
I might have added it wrong, because you were at 17 plus 6, 23. I think it's 23.
5 plus 5 is 10. Plus 5 plus 2 is 22. Plus 6 that didn't work. Plus 6 is 28 total.
5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 2 is not 22.
There were 4 5s in there.
Let me check here. So 5, 5, 10. Yep.
The 2d4.
15. 21. 23. I'm getting 23.
Did you add in the 2d4?
Yeah, that's one of the 5s. I'm not seeing a 4th 5.
2. Frampton.
Hi.
Yeah, that's the 3rd one. I'm not seeing a 4th 5.
Maybe, yeah, no, maybe wrong. So it's 23. Yeah.
That's all we needed, right?
Well, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah. Because
So the next morning you take all of these berries and you make the tincture out of them. You give one to each person. And you see that over the course of the next half hour, it looks like, and I'll just tell you what I rolled here. I rolled 23 d20s just now. Using minimum caster level, you have a +5 bonus. on this roll. It is a DC 19. So you need to roll a 14 or higher for this to be successful. And this is what I rolled. First roll was a 1. Second roll was a 17. So there's 1 success. Then a 3, 6, 5, 20, 2 successes. 19, 3 successes. 14, 4 successes. 18, 5 successes. 7, 15, 6 successes. 4, 8, 5, 13, 14. There's your 7 successes. 2, 14, 8 successes. 12, 15, 9 successes. 11, 1, 20, 10 successes. So 10 of the people are healed from these tinctures, which leaves only 13 left. Again, you have all of this day to continue looking for more berries. Gideon is exhausted.
8 hours
and cannot move.
Yep.
Can we enlist the help of the people we cured? Try to find them too, or is it just solely PCs?
I think the book is pretty much relegating it to PCs, Rangers, because they know what they're doing, and Longfrond. But you haven't gone to either the Rangers or Longfrond.
So we probably should have did that.
Because basically all of these people, they could not possibly meet the DC. So
could they aid?
None
Take
of them
20.
have perception or survival. They'd have to roll to even aid. So I'm just going to say that they cannot assist you.
So
you are on your own at the moment.
So how many days do we think we had left?
Your best guess was 1 or 2 days. So it's either today or you have you're pretty sure that you have all of today is fine. Tomorrow is a little iffy. After that is probably want to avoid after that.
Well, it's not even like we can really go anywhere now. We got freaking Tin Man passed out over here for the day.
Yeah.
For
You're
8
on your
hours.
own now.
Yeah, for 8 hours.
So I guess we reassess and that's probably could have went a little better, I guess. But we saved 10 people. That's
Not
what we
nothing.
think on. Yeah. So
I never thought that I'd go from fighting a dragon to picking berries in the forest.
well, I mean,
Quite a
you
fickle
kinda,
thing.
Really, you only fought a dragon based on those, but maybe today will change.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm still looking for berries, even if I haven't found them. It doesn't change the fact that I'm out here looking for them. I spent hours yesterday looking.
Just trying to make a joke. Getting very defensive.
It's just boring.
So Frampton did his first check and rolled for time, so that's 2 hours. He did not find anything.
Okay, I will
Do
try.
we just want one? Would it be easier if we just had one person do all their own?
Well, it doesn't make any difference if we fail.
Well, I think it just adds up all the time. We could just tally how much time that person did.
Well, try not to burn more than 2 hours, because that's how much me and Kieran burn.
Kieran's like in a right foul mood today.
I don't think I passed.
Nope.
It's supposed to be
DC
20 or
20.
21. Yeah.
Oh,
So
more
the
than 2
first
hours.
round of checking is unsuccessful. 2 hours pass for Frampton and Kieran,
Nice.
1 hour for Jessup. So you can all do your second round of search.
Oh my gosh.
11 will fail.
I feel like maybe I should start rolling perception. I have a better chance.
2 more hours.
Try.
Well, it's higher DC though.
Right, but the offset, I think he said was 2, and my perception offset to survival is 5, so it still gives me a net of +3, but
I see what you're saying.
I'll be a good girl and roll survival.
Yeah, I
Oh.
mean, these rolls wouldn't really matter even if you switched.
Yeah, I've rolled like single digits in every single one of these.
Oh goodness gracious!
1 success for Jessup, so you can roll a d4 and a d6. We're at 4 hours for Frampton, and Kieran puts us at 3 hours
Yes.
for Jessup, and he gets another 6.
Nice.
Continuing on, can keep going here.
I mean, we have to roll high one of these times.
One thing that I
Yes! Nat 20!
Yeah, that's success there.
Jason's like, yay, okay.
Good going, guys.
Roll your d4 and d6, so 3 more hours, and you get another 4, so that puts you at 10. One thing you can consider is that Kieran can take 10 to aid, which means that Jessup could take 10 to get a DC to get a 21 with the aid.
Oh.
Knowledge nature. Don't I have to aid on the same skill that he's rolling?
That's not what I was doing before.
Oh.
I gotta poke holes, Sarah. Why you gotta poke holes?
Rules follower, okay?
I mean, even still, you have an intelligence of +0, right?
That's
well, I guess
a
you
bit
can't do it.
patronizing, Jason. I like to think I have a +1.
But yeah. So you're currently at 10 tinctures. You can keep going. Do another round.
Okay.
So
9.
okay. I thought we were gonna aid, but okay.
Well, I thought he said that. I thought that wasn't a thing. I can aid. It's just, I don't know. Kieran's just over it. He's just totally over it.
27. We have a success.
Stupid berries. I have better luck trying to identify magical items.
Again, so Jessup, since you're doing knowledge nature and rolling, that one was significantly above the DC. You can roll a 2d4 this time.
So 3 hours.
Yep.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
7 berries.
That puts you at 17. You can either keep going, or you can see how successful these 17 doses are.
Kieran, do you maybe want to start administering the berry juice while Frampton and I maybe keep looking?
He'll just sigh heavily, and he'll say, honestly, anything's better than searching around these stupid bushes for berries that don't exist. And then he'll just shuffle away to
Hey, Kieran, hold on. No, we can do... I'll cheer you up. Knock, knock.
He'll use the wand of fireball to light a fire to boil the water. He'll be like, kaboom!
Excessive!
Trying to cheer you up here, Kieran.
Hey, you wanted to use it to kill the people.
Well, I said with skin voice, but you can... Alright, cheer you up. Knock, knock. And you say... You cast a message spell on you and say, who's there? So it's knock, knock.
Who's there?
Not berries.
Not berries, who?
That was the end of it. That was just because there was no berry. Jessup just kind of like awkwardly just walks back out and starts looking for more.
So, Kieran, as you're spending some time to administer these, you make 17 more doses and you hand them out. And I'm rolling very interestingly for these. So out of these 17 doses, you got 3 natural 19s, a natural 20, a natural 18,
wow,
2 15s, and a 14.
Wow.
And the rest were fails. So that's another 8 successes.
How many did we need?
You need 23. You're currently at 18 cured people. So you need 5 more.
Okay.
All right, more berries.
So look for more berries.
And 8 hours has passed.
You're still passed out.
Not quite yet.
Oh no! Yeah, not 8 hours because I've only done
Yes.
3.
This is more tense than the dragon fight.
Yeah, because I've only been searching for 6 hours myself.
Because Roll20 hates us.
Good job, Frampton. Good job.
Frampton gets another D4, D6. 4 hours. That'll put Frampton over the 8-hour mark, I think.
Right in the middle of the road. 3 berries.
3, okay.
Yep, I'm over the 8-hour mark now.
Yep.
So I'm at 6 hours.
Yep.
So...
That's not going to do it.
Shoot. Why did it roll twice?
I don't know. But they were
Neither
both
of them
very
passed.
bad.
They were both very bad, a 2 and a 1.
He's like walking around looking for berries and trying to figure out how his joke didn't work.
Trying to improve his jokes.
So I'm at 9 hours with that.
Okay. So both of you are past 8 hours. You have 3 uses that have not been administered. You need 5 people cured.
What?
That's how many berries I found.
Gotcha. So, Josh, what are you aiming for after 8 hours?
When he wakes up, he's going to go out and do it again.
So you are fatigued, not exhausted.
Correct. He is fatigued, not exhausted. He will spend 1d4 plus 1 minutes to remove his armor. 5 minutes. And then he will go out, look for more berries.
Okay.
It's gonna be a joy to have around.
Jason's like, oh, look, some enemies popped out of nowhere. Got a fatigued naked man.
So 3 hours, you do not find anything. Frampton and Jessup can attempt it again as well.
Go Frampton.
Yep. Pulling it up. Hang on.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Frampton's getting the hang of it.
He's starting to know what he's doing.
Nice.
3 hours.
3 berries.
Another 3. So you have 6 berries. You need 5 people.
Oh wait, I thought the 1d4 was the berries. My bad.
No, 1d4 was.
I mean, crap. 3 hours suck. But
No.
go to the ground on the berries. Oh, that's why I was confused. It should have been 0d6. Okay. Anyway.
See if Jessup just hits the DC exactly. So you had 6.
ouch,
After
4
4
hours.
hours, Jessup is able to give you another. How many is he going to have? 2. So that brings you to 8. So let me roll those to see how successful we are. Not as good. So out of those 8, only 2 successes. So that you still have 3 people that are sick.
Just let him die.
And these 3 people at this point, they're just like, I've had so much of this tea. It's clearly not working.
Well, not for you. Wasn't there other ways that we can try to like pry it out, or?
At this point, it's been there so long, it would be like surgery.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Your pee is blue.
With my 0, I feel confident that I could perform surgery on these people. Let's do this with my rapiers. It'll be fine.
You can all attempt it one more time here. 17's not gonna.
Do I get the plus? Do I get the +4 because of it's a hidden object?
Yeah, but DC 22 for perception, so you still don't get it.
Oh, there we go, Gideon. Well done.
Can Frampton have aided my perception to make it a 22?
If only you had said that you were doing that.
I'm pretty sure I heard Kieran yell from over by the campfire. They're next to your foot.
So there's 3 more for Gideon. I'll just do these as we go, each round.
Only 1 hour
Okay,
at least.
one of those worked. So you have 2 more sick people. You can each attempt it one more time today. This is the last time you'll be able to do it today.
Oh, I forgot
Aiding.
to roll my...
I'm aiding Frampton on a perception.
Okay.
Okay. I am aided.
That's exactly 8 hours. Works out.
Ooh, you. Well,
I should have.
Technically 7. Technically. For me.
no.
Okay.
Stop distracting me!
You're the one dancing, Frampton.
Oh no, Gideon.
That's 7 hours for me.
10,
Indeed.
11, 12 on our perception checks.
I don't think there's anything I can do to aid me on a roll.
Not on a check this long.
No, that's the
You
problem.
only need to cure 2 more people.
Come on.
Well, if you would just fudge your dice rolls.
Oh yeah.
Roll a 6 on the berries.
Roll a
You
1.
just hit the. You get a lot of exactly hitting the DCs here.
Roll a 1. Please do.
Don't be mean, Gideon.
It'll be funny.
Ooh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do they
Okay.
work?
So you can roll. Yeah. So hopefully.
5d20, and I need 2 of these to be high. First one was a 1.
Oh my
Nice.
gosh.
Second one is a 2.
Oh my
Nice.
gosh.
Third one is an 18.
Yay.
Fourth one is a 12.
Crap.
Fifth one is a 16.
Ah,
We
good.
did it.
We did it. We cured
Kieran's
them.
like, this is the worst 2 days
I'm
of
gonna
my
say,
life.
I'm gonna say that all of you are fatigued. Gideon is super
From-
exhausted.
Berry hunting?
Do you want me to put
Kieran is
exhausted
mentally
back?
fatigued.
Yeah.
You want me to put exhausted back on? He didn't have armor
Yeah.
on today.
just because you guys have been doing this nonstop for hours.
Dude, I struggle 8 hours at work, let alone 12 hours finding berries.
Berry picking.
Yeah.
All the while, if any of you got close to Gideon, he had nothing but conviction, was kind of blind to the world outside of him, but if you get close, you can hear him mutter, "Hold the line. Close the gap. Find your hidden strength. Steadfast, Gideon." And he just repeats it like a mantra as he keeps going.
So Frampton will pull Jessup aside, go, "Oh, yeah, I got near the fellow over there with the heavy armor. He's a bit of a nutter. He just kept mumbling to himself the entire time. The same mantra over and over again while berry picking. I think he's a crazy person."
What was he saying?
I don't know. Something about hold the gap and walk the line. I don't know. He just kept saying it over and over. And honestly, I wanted to distance myself from him.
It
was quite awkward.
I can just picture Frampton standing, Jessup, like, looking over Frampton's shoulder and seeing Gideon running around naked, looking at the berries. Him looking back at Frampton, be like, "I don't know if he'll fit in with our group here. He's kind of weird."
Oh, he's very weird.
Kieran is laying flat on the ground, like mentally just exhausted, and he's thinking, "I cannot wait to get rid of this guy. He is something else. Can't wait till we can just move on and he moves on and we all just go our separate ways."
We got a bloody half-dragon in our party, and it gives me less heebie-jeebies than this fella.
I mean, I can get somebody who, bites a monk's head off with a dragon mouth, and you doing the worm. But this guy,
though,
not sure about him.
The tail end of your conversation, Gideon joins and probably interrupts whatever it is you're saying.
"Oh, hey, Gideon.
Hey, Gideon. Oh, how are you? Oh.
And you'll notice that he has got
Washboard naps.
No, four cups of brewed tea. Okay. I happen to be fortunate enough to have exactly 4. And he passes them out. Do you accept them or no?
Is it the
No.
tea that we?
Absolutely not.
The blue tea?
It's not. Nope, it is not blue tea. If any of you look at it closely, it has a delicately placed rose petal and seems to be an herbal concoction.
Oh, I didn't know you were an alchemist.
Can I knowledge alchemy it?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh my goodness. A 2.
It's tea.
It's tea.
Oh,
Like
Oh,
tea.
what's with the rose petal, and where did you find it?
I have a bunch of them, and he'll open up, and you'll see he literally has a pack of like dried herbal tea leaves and a bunch of dried petals.
What's with the petals?
He looks at you as if baffled by the question.
I mean, it's kind of it's your thing, right?
He points to the cloth piece in front of him. I serve the one called Milani. I make it my duty to do exactly what she asks of me. And part of that is a daily obedience. In which...
Mahoney?
Milani.
Who's that?
Some of us didn't pass our religion checks. I apologize.
Well, what lore to reveal? Out of game, Milani is the chaotic good deity who stands for the oppressed. Her holy symbol is a crimson rose being grown out of blood-soaked streaks. She is the patron saint of those seeking liberation from unjust rule.
All right.
Yep. And he'll explain so much. You will notice that I once served as a knight of Ozum. I was raised in Vigil, found in Castle Eversand, my now namesake. Thereafter, I found my own way. I aim to become among Milani's exalted. I have heard the plea in Nirmathis, and I lend my shield. I presume, and he looks at you, the ranger, that you are Nirmathi, no?
Right out of Phaendar. Well, what was Phaendar?
He makes a very big ceremony, finds his shield again. Then I stand to serve you.
Oh no, we don't do that servant thing around here. That's. I mean, if you want to follow and help out, you can. But yeah, we don't do the "I'm your master" kind of thing. That's weird.
He looks at you like, what? What are you? How? Are you not in charge?
Oh well, you must be new here. Nobody's in charge. I mean, look at us.
He looks around at the.
Well, I mean, he says that. He looks at that guy, rolls his eyes, and points to what's his name over there, Mr. Leader Naspin. Well, I guess he's a leader.
I am not used to this kind of service, and but in that case, I will commit my shield to Nirmathas. Not a single person, but a nation, an idea. I will fight for your freedom.
They preach it enough here. You'll get used to it before too long.
Yeah. So you trying to be a ranger?
What's a ranger?
Oh boy.
I've heard of the Chernasado, but what does it mean to become one?
Oh, it's a big ritual involved. It probably take a long time to talk about, and
They let anybody do it.
He kind of thinks about it and stops for a second because he thinks of Aiden and his last recruit, basically. And yeah, you know, that's we can get you talk to somebody about that tomorrow, and they can help you figure it out.
If you need me to pledge allegiance, I will. I am devoted to this cause. I know it is my next goal.
Jessup just kind of like stares into the tea, watching the leaf probably floating around. Gets real awkwardly quiet.
I feel I've touched on a poor subject. I'll tell you what. I can tell that you are a bard, and he takes a seat. Regale me with the tales. What has happened here?
Oh, well, where to start? And just goes through pretty much everything that Aiden would have told him, basically, up until when they met, and then what had happened.
Yep.
Spares no expense. Talked about the dragon, Aiden passing, literally just, a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Etc., etc. That probably takes a few hours, I would guess.
Yeah, I would say that you're definitely getting into the nighttime again, when you'll probably by the time he's done describing the recent events, it'll be close to the time when you'd have to go to sleep, or else be whatever's worse than exhausted.
I cast on myself and Gideon the you know what spell I'm talking about.
Keep watch.
Trying to find it.
Yes.
Thank you. So that I can finish my story.
Okay.
Because it probably takes forever. So I will go ahead, Kieran.
No, I was just gonna say that with this tea, like Kieran probably spends, so he brightens when Gideon brings it over, and he sits there and he smells it, and he doesn't drink it. He just sits there and he smells it, because as he smells it, it brings up a memory from years and years and years past when his twin sisters would have tea parties, and they would have rose tea at their tea parties. And his favorite thing when he was younger was trying to prank them at their tea parties. And one such occasion was when he dumped a bucket full of snakes off the balcony onto the terrace below where they were sitting, or how he would put worms inside the sugar cup, and he loved to get reactions out of his sisters, and so he sits there with this cup of tea, just smelling it and remembering memories from a long time ago. And pretty soon the tea is cold, and he just kind of dumps it to the side.
Okay. You regale each other on stories for well, for those of you who are under the effects of Keep Watch, you regale each other with stories for the entirety of the night. And the night, again, as many have, it passes uneventfully. You do not encounter anything dangerous, and you feel pretty confident that you have tended to these refugees here in good time. And as the morning of the next day comes, you get yourselves